And we are live with special guest Ryan Niemiller from America's Got Talent. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to have you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. And yeah, it's a busy day. I didn't nap for you guys. So I wanted to make sure I was as awake as I possibly could be. I reached that. I've been for anyone for reference. I traveled all the way from Newark, New Jersey, and flew to San Diego, which is near where I live. That was what my morning was, and I got to that point where it's like, if I nap, I'm going to make it worse for myself. So
I
now
took
I'm
two
just hopped
naps.
up on caffeine. Yeah, good. You had my extra nap then. Good. That's perfect.
I hate that flight flying from the East Coast to the West Coast, so I feel for you. And you said you were up at like 1:00 in the morning too, right?
Equivalent. So it was 4 East Coast time, but yes, I live on the West Coast, so it was 1 a.m. East Coast. I got a little sleep on the plane. Um, Luckily, the JetBlue Wi-Fi held out long enough for me to watch the Nintendo Direct on the plane, which
Oh,
was
that's
nice.
nice.
I was very
Nice.
excited about that. That was cool. So, I mean, I've done worse travel than that, but if at some point I just randomly stop talking, I have fallen asleep, please
Okay.
whisper
We'll try
for
to
the
just
rest of
knock
the
on the
time.
microphone lightly.
I appreciate it. Yes.
What was the best thing that you saw out of the Nintendo E3 announcement?
The best thing, I don't know if it's the best. Like, one of the things I was most excited for was the new Mario Party. I have a soft spot in my heart for Mario Party from over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and they've kind of had diminishing returns since about 5 or 6. They've kind of
Yeah.
been getting a little worse and worse, but I will always give it a chance. And it looked good. It looked like it was going a little bit more throwback than it did
Mhm.
before. That and Advance Wars was very cool. I'd never played Advance Wars, and so that was sort of one of those series that they had that I assumed they were just done with.
Yeah, like a
You know,
long dormant series. When did those were out for the Game Boy Advance, right? Is that
They had a couple of DS games as well,
did they
Yeah,
have
Mirror
DS
Strike,
as well?
and
Okay.
yeah,
yeah. I think the last one was maybe '06 or something like that. '08. It's been a bit. It's
It's
been a
been a
minute.
minute.
that's a decent one for them to kind of bring forward. It wasn't the one that I would have liked. I would have liked to have seen Golden Sun personally, but who knows if that'll ever come back either. But you know, who knows?
I never played a Golden Sun game. Was there only one Golden Sun or was
No,
that a
there's
series?
I
three.
think there's
There's three.
3. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's Golden Sun 1 and 2 for Game Boy Advance, and then there was Dark Dawn, I think is what it's called for DS. But
Yes. Yeah.
apparently, it did not get very good reception. And yeah, they just kind of fell off from that point. So
The third one only didn't get good reception.
yeah, the first 2 were incredible. Like the I remember specifically I was so impressed with the graphics on the Game Boy Advance because it's a turn-based RPG a la Final Fantasy and things like that. And you'd have these like super attacks that would happen, and they just like, the entire screen would light up, like the whole ground would like rumble on fire and stuff like that. It was like super cool back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
This was kind of new.
The Game Boy Advance, I think, is still an underrated system.
Yeah.
It's a ton of fun. It's having a Super Nintendo in your pocket and easily break out, any of those games was really, really fantastic. And when they upgraded the hardware to like have the clamshell design and made it just that much more portable and kind of protect itself with the backlit screen and all that, it just got better and better.
Yeah, I wanted. I've never really played much Game Boy Advance at all. I just kind of wasn't really gaming at that point too
Mm-hmm.
much. That was like a period of my life where I basically played the same 5 video games over and over and over and over again, and
Mm.
that was enough for me. As soon as I get the analog pocket, I think I'm gonna really deep dive
Did
some.
you get a
Some
pre-order,
Game Boy
Ryan?
Advance. I did get a pre-order.
Son
Yes,
of a bitch.
I did. Yes.
He was in
Yeah.
on that 9 minutes of
Yeah.
flurry there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what happens when you're a big celebrity like me. Those 9-minute windows become 9.5-minute windows. I snuck right in at the end.
Oh man, I was out mowing the lawn and I like saw my watch. It was like 10 after, so I came inside to order it and it was already gone.
Yeah. Well, allegedly they said they're going to release more orders,
Allegedly.
but they're but like I like the quality of their work. I like what they do, but you
Yeah.
can tell like they're kind of getting to that point where they're starting to get a little too big for their operation, and
Yeah.
that's can be a good problem to have if you could expand. But I think they're kind of stuck in that like, well, this could really grow. We have a lot of demand, but there's like 3 of us here.
Yeah.
Right. 3
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me how much hate there is on the internet for that company. And I think it's just because they cannot satisfy demand, right?
Yeah, I think that's mostly it. I think everyone. I've never heard anyone or seen any bad review of the actual product.
Have you
The
checked
only
out the
negative
cartridge slot on a
Right.
NT Mini Noir?
for the I guess that maybe, but I mean I don't know why you're expecting perfection. It's only
Because it's $500.
It was only a $500. I mean that's just whatever. That's
They have the similar problem that I have too, unable to satisfy, that's my problem
Yeah.
too.
it's
Unable to
But you're a
satisfy
lot
demand,
cheaper, frankly.
yeah, and you always get bent in the cartridge slot. It's very it's very uncomfortable for everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
So Ryan, oh, sorry, I was
Go ahead,
gonna
Jay.
totally switch
Oh,
directions. So what was your
both,
question?
both at the same time.
No,
Just,
no, I'm going to
just
stop.
yell at
I'm
me.
backing down.
All right.
I'm going to drink my
I was
beer.
just we didn't really get an opportunity to really introduce Ryan yet. So Ryan was on the 2019 season. What is that, season 14?
That was 14. Yes.
14 of America's Got Talent, got third place, which is insane.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty wild. They told us there was about 75,000 acts that tried to get on.
Wow.
So third out of 7. So like some people were like, "Oh, it sucks you didn't win." I was like, "No, it's pretty cool that I got third." Like
Yeah,
that's
right.
pretty good. That's the way you should look at that. Like
what place did you get again? Random off the internet?
it's just amazing. Like yeah, it's pretty wild that even happened. It's still a little hard to believe because like I did comedy for a long time before that. I was doing like 12, 13 years and
Mhm.
just kind of I had finally gotten to the point where I could technically pay my bills with just comedy. But
Before you
not
got on the show?
well. Yeah, but it's not like I wasn't. I still had to like sleep in my car instead of getting hotels sometimes just to be able to make it even remotely profitable.
Yeah.
And then just from like that to like you get on that show, you go from no one knowing who you are to about 15 million people see you, and it's a pretty quick transition, and
Yeah.
it's really cool. I'm glad it took me as long as it did to get there because like I tried to get on the show for 5 years. And I think if I would have got on that first year, I would have collapsed under the pressure. Like it's
Really?
it's
Interesting.
weird. I mean, it's just so sudden. You just have to be in the right mental space because like I have haters for the first time now. Like that was new. You don't have haters when no one gives a shit.
No.
Like that's one of the nice things. Obscurity does not draw haters at
No.
all. It's awesome.
Except for like your
That's
stepdad or something.
Exactly. Except for like an ex-girlfriend being like, "You
Yeah.
were never funny."
Yeah. I never laughed once. I faked every
No.
laugh.
I faked every laugh. Which would hurt me way more than faking every orgasm. I'll tell you that much.
I already knew I was incompetent at that.
Yeah, yeah. That's more of a her problem than a me problem. But the laughter, that's a personal attack. That's out.
So, how did you get into comedy in the first place? You've been doing it for a long time.
It's honestly, I mean, if you want kind of like the short, jokey answer, I wasn't good at anything else, so it just kind of worked that way. So I always want to be a performer. I thought it was going to be pro wrestling, to be honest. That was my first love and my first passion as far as like entertainment goes. Like to this day, I love wrestling. That's my jam. That's why I'm a big fan. But it turns out it's really hard on the body.
I've heard that. Yeah.
It's a little rough. And you might not know this. I'm not exactly a super athlete. That's not really my base is not athletic.
How
So-
sore were you after that that deal with America's Got Talent when you were doing that whole day?
Honestly, that wasn't too bad because we didn't do a whole lot of wrestling. The guy who did hit me though, when we kind of staged the little like moment where he like he fake hurt me, he popped me good. He got the that's a little inside thing I've not talked about much. So he's a buddy of mine now. So there's no hatred or whatever. But that was the first time I met him. His name's Andreas. He went by the name Latino Meat, which was great. That's why I love pro wrestling. You can have a guy who's named Latino Meat, and no one raises an eyebrow.
Yeah,
Like, of
right.
course that's his name. He's duh. Well, yeah.
I want
So
him
he
to be
introduced
Irish.
himself.
In my headcanon, he's Irish.
Exactly. But like, so we had rehearsed it because we wanted it to look good because we had to try to get like this one really long shot to make it look like I was actually hurt, and then kind of do the whole thing. And we rehearsed it a few times, and like, I had a little bit of wrestling training years ago, so I wasn't coming in 100% blind. But I tell dick jokes for money. Like, I'm not like trained in that. So when we weren't like filming, we just kind of practiced a little bit. He kind of was just like laying him in like soft enough that it looked good. I was like, okay, this is cool. But once the camera got going, adrenaline got going with him, and he popped me really good. My glasses like flew off. I was like, oh no. And somehow, because we did it in one take, because I don't think I could have done a second one, because like he popped my jaw good. Like I had a headache a little bit later in the day.
Mm.
But luckily, I somehow, while the camera wasn't on me, I was getting in position. I found my glasses and got them on, so no one saw that he destroyed me. Because I wouldn't have been. I can't see without my glasses barely at all, so I wouldn't have been able to finish what we were filming, and I didn't want to get hit again. But yeah, it was a. I took one forearm and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. That's enough for me.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, but just when I was young, I was always to not get made fun of for having a disability. I just made the jokes first, and like it was just. I have a natural charisma with that. Like it's one of those things. I'm very fortunate. I don't take it for granted. I know that doesn't come easy to everybody. But I just was always kind of had the quick wit. I could make jokes about myself faster than anyone else could. I could make jokes about them even harder than anything they could have said to me.
Mhm.
And after a while, people just were like, "Oh, this guy's cool. He's funny. Like he can do that." And then you sort of learn that like this always sounds like creepier and more sinister than I intend it to be. But like, if you're funny, people will do shit for you. Like they will. I know that sounds weird, but like if you can make people laugh, they like trust you and they like you, and so like I would be able to do stuff like, oh, my class, like we'd have like algebra class in high school, and like people in my class would be like, we don't want to learn today, do something funny, Ryan, so we don't have to learn. And I'd figure it out, and we get out, like that was the challenge, we'd get out of like learning that day. Just go. So
The teacher would do that?
What's that?
The teacher would do that?
No, like my student, like the fellow
Oh, okay.
students would be like,
Oh.
Ryan, we need you to get us out of learning today. Like most of us didn't do our homework. Do something, and so I would do so. And then like eventually the teachers just liked me because I always was able to find that nice fine line between being like disruptive but not disrespectful. That's like that's a really tiptoeing kind of line to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of after that, and then I did theater in college because I was 18, and they'll give student loans to anybody basically. So I decided a theater degree was what I should spend that money on. Uh, and I really enjoyed it, but essentially I just got tired of telling Shakespeare's story. Like I wanted to tell my own stuff, and stand up was kind of the natural transition to that.
It's got to help though, right? A theater degree, like in
Oh,
stand up, is like getting in front of people, being able to project.
yeah, it did in hindsight. It's something I don't know if I should have spent $35,000 to learn that
Get off
when I
cheap.
could have learned it, naturally. But it did give me a little bit of a head start because, like, if you start comedy blind, not only do you need to learn how to write jokes, you also need to learn how to like find your light, not talk over your laughs. Be able to project, like you said. There's like a stage presence to it as well. And I kind of knew all that part of it. I just had to learn how to write jokes.
Do you, when you write jokes, do you actually like sit down and with a pad of paper or a laptop or something and write, or are
Never.
you like kind of thinking about them and kind of writing them in your head as you go?
I always I write in my head, or I make really small notes of an idea that I have, and I kind of write on stage. So it just worked better for me. I've never been able to just sit down and be like, it's time to write. Because instead, what happens for me personally, and for some people that works great. I know I have friends that will write 10, 20 pages a day, every day, in hopes that like half a page will be any good. I can't do that because I sit there with a pen and paper and start thinking, what do people think is funny? Do people like cats? Is that a funny thing that people like? And I don't think it's
People
funny.
do
Like
like
I'm not
cats.
passionate. They love cats. It's ridiculous. But like if I'm not passionate about the idea, I'm like pandering trying to write these jokes. Then if I try them on stage, they're gonna suck because I don't care about them. Whereas if I just kind of like go with the flow and like something happens or I see something and I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. I do a quick note, then I try it on stage, and that's how it works for
Yeah.
me, at least. Cool thing about comedy, there's no right way to do it. Like everybody has their own paths and meticulous ways to do it.
Yeah.
Right. I will say I was just gonna comment, before we even kind of got connected, my wife and I actually did see you on America's Got Talent, like your audition and everything. And the one thing, obviously, that for me personally, like I'm I try really hard not to offend people and all that kind of stuff. And so when you came out, and obviously there was kind of an awkwardness in the room, and you could probably comment on that, but just the way that you approach that and you just kind of hit it head on, like, hey, I'm here. Yeah, I got a disability, but you know what? Who cares? And like being able to get in front of it and make people comfortable was like one of the things I was like, all right. It was like something washed over me where I was able to fully appreciate what you were doing on stage, as opposed to being kind of uncomfortable in
Yeah,
myself.
it was. It's also a thing. There was a little magic of editing on that too, because I think that's kind of what they wanted that vibe to be.
Hmm.
Sort of like, oh, this guy has a very noticeable disability. What's gonna happen here? What actually had kind of happened there, and it was a cool thing to hear. Like I felt pretty good right away. As soon as I walked out, I got a huge ovation for like no reason. Like it was weird. I don't know if it was just the swagger I was walking with or like what it was, but even like before, like because Simon did like my the pre interview. They like one of them usually picks and doesn't. Simon happened to be mine, and he was like, "I have never seen anyone get an ovation for doing nothing." And I was like, "Cool. I guess I'll see you in the next round then." It's kind of like that. But there is a certain sense of that though. And that's just basically been my entire life. It's something that's more just it's kind of just innate to me now. It's instinct. Because like when you have a disability like this, whether it's fair or not, any new situation I go into, whether it's being on stage in front of thousands of people or if it's just going to the grocery store, people notice there's a dude with a disability there. So I kind of have to figure out ways to make everyone else comfortable with it. So either A, I can succeed on something like AGT, or B, you'll leave me alone so I can go buy broccoli.
Hmm.
Like there's always a situation that like again, it's not fair, but people with disabilities have to make others comfortable with it so we can just live our existence. And I've had to learn that on stage. Like there's it was it was a lot of trial and error to figure out what the best way to approach it because I can't not mention it. Maybe I can get away with it a little bit more now because people know who I am to some degree. But before, like if you have a disability and you don't talk about it at all, you make them way more uncomfortable than if you're in their face about it. Because like it's an elephant in the room. They're like, gee, he's got to know, right? Like, should we should we tell him? Like, is that on us? Did his parents never tell him, and he just thinks he's clumsy? Is that what the
I,
problem is?
it's one of those things where sometimes you don't know like where the limit is as to like, do I need to do something to make them more comfortable? Like, how do I approach that? And so you just come out, you're like, yeah, don't treat me any different. I'm just here to make you laugh. It was just like immediate kind of relief and calm. I don't know.
Yeah,
So it's a weird thing to say, but yeah.
no, I appreciate that, and I'm glad you noticed because that's something I was actively trying to do. There's a again another fine line that you have to kind of walk on that show where you have to be confident but not cocky. Apparently Simon hates if you act like you're too big for the show
Hmm.
because in his eyes he's like this is my baby. I'm giving you a huge opportunity.
Hmm.
Don't be a dick.
Right.
Like but you also can't look like you've never been in front of people talking before. Like you have to look like you know what you're doing. And I think I was able to find that kind of good chord of like in between that, where because like it was a huge deal. They were the first major thing to give. I've been ready for that opportunity for years. They were the first major, television show or production that was finally like, okay, let's give them a shot. So like I knew I wasn't gonna fuck it up, but I also was very thankful for the opportunity because no one else had given it to me in the 13 years before that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the comedy's a long game. Most people do not make it quick.
Right. So how does retro gaming fit into that whole, and like video gaming and kind of collecting fit into your upbringing? Because you did a lot of theater and all
Uh,
that stuff in your school.
Games kind of was it sort of goes along with a lot of the other things I was always into, like pro wrestling and even like being a performer in general. It was escape. Video games like I didn't have the, I've talked about it, many times before. I won't get too deep in the woods, but like, I had an alcoholic father. We were super poor. I grew up in a trailer park. It wasn't exactly the most pleasant of times at all times, but hell, when I'm Link in Hyrule, I'm not worrying about that in that time. The same way when I was watching, I've been watching WrestleMania. I was Hulk Hogan. I wasn't, I wasn't the kid who's poor, whose dad is yelling again, kind of thing. So gaming just always sort of stuck with me like that, and I like storytelling, and then the collecting is just I'm a psychopath. I think that's more that's more what it is. I have a bad I won't say hoarder because I can get rid of stuff when I don't care about it anymore. Um, like of all the stuff I had a whole storage unit and it was almost exclusively video game stuff. I don't have tons of furniture. I don't keep tons of clothes. I'll get rid of that shit just right now. You want me
Yeah.
to throw this computer away? Fuck, I'll do it. I don't give a shit. Dare me to. I'll do it right now. But like when I do something like that, when I collect, like we joked a little bit before we started recording, I think about like I want to do complete sets of video game.
Yeah.
I love checklists. I love being able to like here is the finite amount of NES games there are, and I'm gonna start crossing them off.
What
Mhm.
sets are you
I
working on,
started.
Ryan?
So the ones I'm actively working on, I'm working on everything. Let's be honest, I'm a monster. But actively, I'm working on OG Game Boy, OG Xbox, Xbox 360, and then NES, and dipping toes into SNES and N64.
What's the hardest one to collect for?
The hardest one to collect for of that I'm going for,
Yeah. Or
probably
any
SNES. Yeah. Oh,
SNES
oh,
wise?
SNES is because so many people who grew up with it have money now,
Mm,
and there's a ton of nostalgia for it. So ton of demand means prices never go down.
yeah.
That's essentially what it is. It's
There's a lot of like $100+ SNES games. It's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff that's not even like I'm still, you might know more about this, Jay, than I do, because I'm still kind of learning the business side of why prices do what they do.
Mhm.
But like some things are like Earthbound is not nearly as rare as the lore of that game is. I
Mhm.
see an Earthbound if I'm out like in normal times going to stores every week. I see an Earthbound once a weekend easily. Like they're not like they're available. Not hundreds of them. It's not, it's not Tetris or anything like that.
It's
But like
not Guardian Legend, which is the weirdest thing. I want to talk about why that's so
exactly,
cheap.
exactly. So like Guardian Legend, I would say is harder to find than an Earthbound.
You think
Maybe
so?
not by a ton, but like Earthbound has this lore of being super rare, so it's $300, and
Yeah.
Guardian Legend you can get for what 10 loose, something like
Yeah.
that, if that.
20, 20, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think it's just demand. Chrono Trigger has done the same thing the last year or two. It was always, I mean, Chrono Trigger, I'm pretty sure brand new was like $80 or something, but it's always been, you know, 60 to 80 for a card of Chrono Trigger. But for some reason, this last year or two, it's really skyrocketed up.
Well, I just
Especially
think
like
there's so many
complete in
collectors
box.
right now, right? It's like,
Right.
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah,
from
even the DS Chrono Trigger went way up. I had got that brand new for like $22, maybe 2-3 years ago,
Hmm.
and now in brand new condition, it sells for like 150.
wow.
Hmm.
And yeah, just more like again, like you said, demand. Just more people get whiff of it, and as more people start getting into collecting, people just know more shit, and there's more info
Right.
available than there was before. And that's part of me. Like I've benefited from it as well. I know more about
Mhm.
collecting than I did 10 years ago.
Right.
So
It's
who
one of
who am I to tell these other people like no get out of my hobby that I
Yeah.
also picked up late.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me ask you a question, Ryan. Do you enjoy
Sure.
your a collection, like like let's say a Super Nintendo collection, more when you have like 10 games left to find, or more when you've finished it, when you now have a complete collection?
Um Probably complete like completing it can be a little bittersweet. The only one that I in my head I'm kind of de facto saying is complete is my Wii U collection.
Hmm.
I still need a couple like special editions and stuff like that, but I don't actively I'm not losing sleep over not having those because I mean there's a couple of Nintendo New York exclusives that cost like 5 grand. I don't think that's huge priority when I can
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
right.
get, it's Mario Kart 8 and Hyrule Warriors, which are not hard to find, just normal. So, um, completing it makes it a little bittersweet though, because when you're actively putting that time into it and you're like, I'm getting there, I'm getting so close, and it's done, you're like, hmm,
Yeah.
all right,
What do I do
well,
now?
yeah,
Do I play them?
yeah, it's the weird, yeah, no, God, no, they go on these shelves and you don't touch them. But like, and that's where it comes to like, for me, it's important to at least have a couple buddies who give a shit too, because that can be the hard thing too. Like I enjoy collecting because it gives me something to do on the road. I love playing games. It's fun for me. Like I get enjoyment out of it. But there is a certain time, like once I complete my Game Boy collection, for instance, Jay's gonna be excited for like 10 minutes. It'll be like, cool, man. And then like what, so it's like you kind of have to like you have to enjoy the process for yourself. And then if you can find one or two people that'll kind of have your back a little bit on it and be like, that's dope, dude, you can be like, okay, sweet. Yeah, but like as you start getting closer, it can get stressful on that too, because usually most people, if they're getting down to that last 10, it's because those last 10 are expensive as hell
It costs
and hard to
$1,000.
find.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, I'll never finish an NES collection unless I fall into like an estate sale that someone had. Like, you would have to just get so lucky, like you freaking did, Jay, recently. So,
So it's funny though, because like Brian and I have talked about this, and he's like, well, why don't you just go for a complete set? Because I have, between SNES, Super Nintendo, and 64, I have the majority of the heavy hitters already. Like those are the ones that I've been focusing on for the last 5, 6, 7 years. And he's like, well, all those little cheapy, whatever $1 to $5 games would be really easy for you to get. I'm like, but space. And I don't give a shit about, you know, all the random sports titles and just kind of $1 cheap, because I'm like, I don't have any ever interest in really playing those. And I think I go after ones that ideally I'd like to play at some point, maybe in experience. I don't know. It's weird. Or they're just really obscure, expensive games that I find fun to have. But it's interesting because Ryan and I are talking. I have literally there's a list of 100 games right now that I've had that I just have had for years, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell to do with these. They're like $1, $2 games, and I don't want to like Harry Potter for Game Boy Advance,
yeah,
or what was the NSYNC Game Boy Color game
yeah, like
and
Oh.
stuff like that.
NSYNC
Like,
to the concert or something like that, to the show. It's
yeah,
stuff like,
but those are probably going to end up. A lot of them are going to end up with Ryan, because I don't want them, and I'm like, yeah, I'll throw you a sweet deal because I don't want them. Like, and
yeah,
he's trying
I
to
mean,
complete
they're,
sets.
they're just
So
gonna sit around anyway. That's kind of the, yeah. And I mean, like it's like for me, it's part of collecting is also cool. It's as cool to display as it is to play. Like for me, that like the aesthetic of it. Like you can't really tell so much now because it's still very much work in progress in here. But my girlfriend is very nice and she's letting me have 2 rooms of our house to make into game rooms. So like these rooms are going to be like the talking point. Like I've heard people say before, like every house has like the one thing
Yeah.
that's like unique to it that like people show off to. It's gonna be these dope ass game rooms. That's gonna be the stuff. Like my girlfriend's nephew, like he's so excited to get to like play games over here and see the stuff and like there's something cool about that, being able to show off the cool stuff you have. And I feel it's pretty harmless. I mean, as far as comics go, if this is my vice, I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I'd say
Like
probably
like
batting above average there.
Yeah. You think I'm gonna let hookers and heroin in here? They might damage my complete in box.
Yeah.
Link to the past. I'm not gonna
Hookers
let
have
that
no
happen.
respect for the classics.
Oh god, but their grubby hands. I'm like, no.
Briar recently picked up. Well, recently it was like months ago. The CIB Link to the Past as well, didn't you, Briar?
Yes, I
Yeah.
sold it though.
You're kidding.
Yeah, it had doubled in price since I bought it. I was like,
Yeah, that happens.
I like money.
Like, I'm looking at most of my collection. I have an app that tracks like total value. I'm like, the entire
Yeah.
collection is doubled in price. Like, what do I do? You know?
Yeah.
I mean that's part of like the appeal though. Like I guess like and I'll never judge anybody because like certain thing like when things bump up to a certain price, you know, if you have families though, I mean Jay, we talked about this the other day, like
Yeah.
man, you got a family. When things hit a certain amount, it's like I think you're cool because you have that, but no, take care of your damn family.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
like
We'll talk
house
about
money.
that game later.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
house money.
Yeah, exactly. You just and I that's why I've never felt like this is a bad vice to have for me personally because I also know like if something happened like I love my collection and I love this stuff. It brings me a lot of joy. But if my girlfriend needs a kidney, I'm selling this shit. Like there's like it's not an obsession where I'd be like, no, I
Well,
can't get like well, okay, how strong
how
is
bad
the other
is the
kidney?
kidney?
Yeah, how's the other one doing? Is that one like all right? You know, like I think you have to have priorities. I'm not naive enough to say these are investments because I think some people lie to themselves. No, you like collecting shit, and that's fine. Like just enjoy that. Some people are like, oh, it's gonna be worth so much money. Yeah, but you're never gonna sell it. So
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
It's not.
that's the argument my wife makes too. She's like,
Yeah.
but I'm like, it's worth this much, but she's like, are you gonna sell it though? And I'm like, probably
Yeah.
not.
So it's kind of so then at that point it's just worth whatever the happiness it brings you.
Yeah.
And right now this stuff makes me pretty happy. So like I'm not upset.
Is it bad if I say that I have 3 complete inbox Link to the Pasts?
No.
Do you have the are they all the same?
So
Or do you-
I've had one for a long time, and it's just the normal one. And then I picked up at some point the like player's choice one,
Okay.
and of course you got to keep variants. That's because my
Sure,
brain's
of course.
stupid.
Yeah,
And then I
do,
picked
I do the same thing. I'm one of the only people who's looking for like greatest hits PS2 games alongside
oh I
the
don't
Black
yeah
Ops
I
ones.
don't
Yeah.
search them out, but especially the cardboard ones, if you get them, it's like yeah maybe I'll hold on to that for a minute. But if I were to sell one, that would be the first to go. Would be the greatest hits version.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years ago, I got A Link to the Past. It was like for $25 on eBay for CIB, and she this lady sold me a bunch of stuff, and it was her grandfather's, and it came and it had a not for resale sticker on front, and I'm like, I've seen that sticker before on like some of the variants of like the Super Nintendo. They had like one that had a Super Game Boy attached to it, like in a separate box, had that same not for resale sticker with like the red text. And I was like,
Awesome.
what is this about? And I couldn't figure out anything on the internet. So I messaged her back. I was like, is there any way that your grandfather like worked at Nintendo or something? And she's like, yeah, he was one of those call center people, the Nintendo hotline for years.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm like, so that means he bought this game at the Nintendo like employee store where he worked. I'm like, I can't sell it now. Like, it's too special.
Yeah, and there's certain things like, and there's tons of that just exists out there that we don't know about. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to betray my friend's trust, so I will not say it on the recorded part of this. But I know about something really cool that's kind of along those lines that I will tell you off recording about what it is.
Yep.
But there's stuff like that. Like, I mean, there's so many things that like we just have no idea. I mean, pretty famously, not that long ago, they finally found the prototype for the PlayStation Super N64 or
The
whatever it
Nintendo,
was.
yeah.
the Nintendo PlayStation.
Yeah, like they finally found and how much of that just exists somewhere? Like
Yeah.
it was just some office drone at the Nintendo thing who just didn't give a shit, and he just has it in a box of like stuff after he was shit canned or whatever, And he's like, I got this. It's probably worth millions of dollars, and he has no idea or doesn't care.
Right. How many like
We're gonna talk about
prototype controllers and stuff are in like a attic in Japan somewhere?
Yeah, just randomly.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about one of those things today, actually, in the news. Something was found today or within the last couple of weeks. So,
should we do the news?
I was going to say, speaking of news, it might be a good opportunity.
Go ahead and
to
do
lead
it.
into
Yeah, I'll be listening. I'm still recording to responding to AGT Q&A on Instagram because they
What's
wanted
the
me to
best
do it.
question they've asked so far?
So far, it's probably the porn bot who said, "I want play and dating."
That's good, actually.
I think I'm considering giving her both play and dating. I'm not gonna lie. It feels I admire the gumption. I admire the gumption.
So I thought this was pretty hilarious. I was talking to Ryan. I think we worked out this date like a month and a half ago. It was like 5 or 6 weeks ago, or 4 or 5 weeks ago, something like that. And then within the last week, he's like, "By the way, America's Got Talent hit me up, and they asked me to. They're doing like a feature on alumni, right?" And he's like, "They're asking me to do responses to questions." And I'm like, "Oh, do you need us to reschedule? Like, what's going on?" He's like, "No, it's just tech stuff." And I'm like, "Well, what's the time frame?" He's like, 4 p.m.
Like 4 to 5. Yeah.
Like, so exactly the like window. I thought it was just hilarious how perfect it all set up.
I mean, I've had so much annoying stuff, especially the last year, because like obviously my calendar went to like next to nothing. Like because if you're a live act, when they don't have live performances, you don't really work a lot. And then there'd be like situations I wouldn't have worked for 4 months, and then the same night 2 people offer me something. And I'm like, fucking really? I've had 4 months having an existential crisis about how my career is ruined. And then you all come on this one day.
It's great. So lots of news this week to talk about, actually. Hopefully we can get through fairly quickly. Super Mario Kart Hacker restores editor. Like, I didn't realize that Super Mario Kart Hacker was like a delineation in somebody's name. Like, yes, my name's Michael. I'm a Super Mario Kart hacker. Anyways,
That's a very specific title.
His name was Mr. L314. I don't know if that's supposed to be Leet Speak or something. I'm like trying to work it out in my head. But on Twitter, he literally cracked the code, and he's able to like use Super Mario Kart from Super Nintendo assets to either edit tracks, rebuild stuff, make fun things a la like Mario Paint and stuff like that. It was just find it kind of interesting that somebody's able to do that. Like the SFX DOS code. And
that's
there's
interesting.
A little video. Yeah.
So somehow he extracted that from a cartridge?
It says that he restored the SFX DOS functionality back to. So I don't know if he was doing this in a ROM, or doesn't really say whether it was from an actual cart or not.
Oh, no shit. But so it says that the program that was hidden in there, SFX DOS, basically turned the Super Nintendo into a personal computer and allowed it to interface with things like a keyboard, parallel port printer, and a floppy disk controller. That's amazing. So, like, I'm sure this was like Nintendo built software that allowed you to treat the Super Nintendo like a computer.
Yeah, makes sense more, in the design phase. It'd probably be more efficient to do it that way.
Yeah. Is he gonna release it? Like, are we gonna be able to design our own?
It said
Mario Kart levels.
The plans is to release the prototype in the future, which is super cool.
Yeah,
I can just imagine people tinkering with that and making some cool stuff, like almost Minecraft style in there.
Yeah, basically, there's gonna be like 2,000 penises, and then some other cool stuff.
Okay, now we're talking about Yeah, all right.
Like, everybody's just be drawing tracks that look like
I'm gonna collect the 2,000 penises. That's my next collection. I'm gonna complete. I need all 2,000 dongs.
Just plastered on the wall, just pictures.
Exactly.
This one's a little sad. It's okay. Arcade 1UP had some pretty amazing announcements. I was super excited about this, even though I'm not going to buy them because I don't have the space. Arcade 1UP, first of all, announced the Simpsons arcade game is getting a release.
Is is this the first like official release of that game since the original, like the actual?
Well, yeah, they had the Xbox 360 version that was only available for like 2 years because of licensing or something.
Yeah.
But that was not the same. I don't think it was the same as this. It was like a, HD upgrade. So this is
Oh,
the
really?
original Simpsons arcade game for fucking $599.
Why so
Uh
much? Aren't there usually like $200?
licensing, I'm sure.
Fucking
It
Konami. Oh,
comes with
now Nickelodeon too, right?
Yeah, so it comes with like a branded stool, and I'm assuming like a bar stool, I think.
I could go
And then
for a Simpsons arcade game stool. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
That'd be kind of
Yeah,
neat.
that'd be
and
dope.
I think it has the riser, and it has a trackball on the machine for some unforeseen reason.
The
'Cause that
trackball's confusing.
that yeah, that game didn't have a trackball on it. I don't know why there's a
No.
trackball.
Maybe there's other games that you can play on that arcade cabinet as well.
Maybe, I mean,
They got all these trackballs just laying around. They gotta the whole thing. We gotta move these trackballs. We ordered way too many.
Rome in the machine. Well, I'm sure
Centipede
people already
didn't sell as well as expected.
people already sideload stuff onto those machines. I know that. So,
Yeah.
it would be great to put like golf or what is it called? Golden Tee or whatever on there. It'd be dope.
Yeah.
They
Those things
sell
are
those
too
machines
small
already.
though. It's like you gotta like be on your knees to use them, right?
Well, no, if you get a riser, they're not.
Yeah.
So they
I
make
don't think I
those,
want to
like,
play Golden Tee on one of those. Golden Tee, generally I'm pretty drunk when I'm playing it and I'm whacking on that ball pretty hard. Like I'd rather be playing Golden Tee on somebody else's machine, hitting somebody else's ball. I don't
well,
think I want to play
Arcade
that
One
at
Up
home.
made Golden Tee machines too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure those are cheaper.
I'm sure.
Not Simpsons. But there's 3 other cabinets that they also released. Turtles in Time, or announced Turtles in Time,
Classic.
which is super exciting. There's a Street Fighter cabinet, which if you haven't seen the picture of this, Briar, it looks like the original Street Fighter 2 Tournament Edition cabinet, the one with like the circular. It looks incredible.
That
And it
wasn't
has
already
like
out.
this one is specifically Street Fighter 2, and it has like a dozen Capcom fighting games on it.
Oh, that's cool.
Like
Oh,
Street
nice.
Fighter 2, Hyper Fighting, Turbo, Puzzle Fighter Turbo, Darkstalkers, Night Warriors, Darkstalkers 3, Slam Masters, Night of the Round, Echo, like just
this is
it
cool.
looks freaking dope. So I'm like Matt, because I don't know where the hell I would put it. I just don't have the space for it. And then the last one they announced was this like Miss Pac-Man branded one
Yeah.
that has a bunch of stuff from 1981. It's Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Galaga 88, Galaxian Dig Dug, Mappy, Rally X, like a lot of the classic stuff. Looks amazing too. Like just the branding on these alone is insane.
If I'm getting a Street Fighter arcade machine, I'm gonna get a real one. I don't
You're gonna
want
spend
like
a
mini
grand to
one.
$1,500 on.
I don't think they're that much money.
To get them in any decent shape, do you know how to fix them?
No, of course not.
Okay, well then, there you go.
I mean, you could probably get one for I think they go between 800 and 1,500 just as like a working, but like yeah, the hardest part of those old machines is the upkeep and the repair for sure. Like these make that easy because they like hook up to Wi-Fi for updates. You could sideload shit and put other games on it.
But these
You
have
know,
like
and it's
mini controls. They're like smaller
no,
than
they're
regular.
not. They're like full size.
No, they're not. They're really compact. They got full size button and joysticks,
Right, that's
but
what
they're
I'm
all
saying.
compacted.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
smaller. They have LCD screens. They're I don't know.
You're selling me on it even more because it's compact. It's got LCD screens. But like if you look at the Turtles in Time one, like it's got the 4 joysticks with the colored buttons. I think it looks
that's kinda
incredible.
neat.
I mean, obviously,
Was that the
I would like.
original art? Because that art is terrible.
I think that's the original cabinet art for
Boy,
Turtles in
that's
Time.
horrific.
I would like to get one of those kind of all-in-one arcade cabinets that are full size and stuff that are super dope. But
Yeah, the full size ones are cooler.
yeah,
The ones that you can like put a mister inside of, and
I'm actually just looking at the art for the first time now, and that is amazing. It is so nightmare-inducing that I want
smiles.
That actually just sold me on it. Like
it's so bad it's good.
yeah, because they're smiling the same way that like I smiled like in 3rd grade on picture day where they tell you like smile and you're just like
Like the Wallace and Gromit smile.
yeah, you don't know how to do it. I pissed my girlfriend off so much because like she always wants me to smile in pictures, but for whatever reason I have this blind spot where if you tell me to smile, my brain and face cannot get together on that. So I'm just like and that's essentially what they're doing. That is school picture day for all the turtles.
That one at least
Yeah.
looks bigger than the Street Fighter one.
Well, it's wider because of the 4.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think I put the picture of the Simpsons arcade cabinet on there, but it's up. It's around. You can search for it real quick.
Yeah, you get the idea.
Simpsons. I mean, Simpsons and the people who did Turtles in Time. It's the same developers. So it's like the same company who did both. It just
you
I
know
imagine
some poor bastards out there collecting these things. 1UP arcade cabinets.
Oh
right?
yeah,
He's got a
somebody in Texas or something that has
full of them.
Yeah, somebody in Texas that's got like 5,000 square feet for their mortgage is $1,200 a month.
Yeah,
And they
just
have like
has a big old pole barn or something that they've built out in the backyard that they now fill with pinball machines and
I'm just jealous.
Big ass
to be
electric bill.
Yeah, I live in Southern California. I'm lucky to have a roof.
Right.
Like that's enough.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. Tato, another one of those mini tiny like coffee tabletop machines is getting released, and this is only in Japan actually. But if you watch the little video, it's really intelligently designed. It's got like you can basically it's kind of a weird thing, but you can pop
It's
out
got
the
tape
LCD
mode.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You can flip the LCD 90 degrees and then pop it back in, and it's got different attachments and controllers that you can use. It's got like 4 USB slots in the back for multiple players, or it's got like 2 USB, an HDMI, a phone jack. I don't know why you would want that, and it's got like a memory card slot on it. It looks really cool. If the joystick and buttons are full size, I mean, that seems like a
at that size.
pretty
It can't be. It looks
and
a
it's
lot
only
like the Sega one, but that tape mode thing I think is new.
and I think so. It says that approximately $170, which is not horrible considering it's got like like basically a tablet built into it and stuff.
Yeah, but are you ever gonna play a game on this thing?
Probably not. I would probably get something like your arcade stick that you got, the Bluetooth 8-bit do one, and yeah. Just got it. Just like this one. You mean this one that I talk about every episode? Yeah,
I literally use it all the time. I was using it to play the Guardian Legend today.
But you don't use the use the keys, which is more precise instead of.
Well, I'm using those right now because I'm testing them out. But normally there's a big old joystick on there.
Yeah, I wish there was a big old joystick on me. Anyways,
Same. I'll take a medium-sized
so that
joystick.
looks pretty cool. So that's 2022 release, about $170 in Japan. So if you can get your hands on one. So I mentioned earlier that another one of those kind of retro games. And this is very topical because you literally mentioned Earthbound.
Mm-hmm.
So Earthbound localization and source files were covered. It was just the story is, I think his wife just happened to have a floppy drive somewhere. It's like, here, look what I found, and it's the localization from Japan to America. About like, all the translation. There's literally like translation notes, like, I don't know what this means, or there's not a direct word for this. And there's like a 30 some odd minute video from the Video Game History Foundation's like going through some of the specific things that only equals about 15% of what they found on this. It's not just like, the actual localization. It's trial and error stuff, things that they started with, but they ended up changing for the final draft. It actually impacts certain things and Nintendo, kind of censoring certain things in the American market versus the Japanese market and stuff like that for Mother 2. And it's really interesting. That again, like you said, that just they're finding stuff like this just, in a box somewhere.
Yeah. Frank Cifaldi over at the Video Game History Foundation is doing the Lord's work. He's doing things that, the Nintendo, Sega, none of these companies are doing for themselves. He's preserving the history of video games You can go over there and donate money. You can even they have a store where you can buy like mugs and stuff, t-shirts, hats. You can even you can get a monthly subscription to retro gaming magazines through them, and they're expensive, but you're funding. You're basically donating to the Video Game History Foundation. They're doing awesome work over there.
I think I asked this before. Are those magazines physical or are they digital?
No, yeah, they actually send you a magazine in the mail every month.
I need to write a note down because you mentioned this like 6 months ago, and I did not.
Yeah, I subscribe to it. It's super fun to get a magazine in the mail that's from 1995. It's really fun.
And that isn't pornography.
Right. That would be also fun.
Well, man, do those still exist? Do porn magazines still exist?
100%.
They must.
I feel if any genre is gonna keep physical, like porn is so much bigger than anything else. Like, yeah, there's everything. Porn. You can probably still find like porn microfiche and
Porn
just like yeah, you can find all that kind of stuff. Betamax porn is probably out there still. Laser disc, like everyone's.
Well, there's like NES adult themed games, Bubble Bath Babes or whatever it is.
Babes, yeah.
And there's a poker one that are obviously not licensed by Nintendo, but they exist and they're expensive as shit too.
Yeah, 12-year-old me would have lost his mind.
Yeah, seriously.
8-bit nudity, oh my goodness.
8-bit boobies.
I almost had a heart attack when I saw Leisure Suit Larry, and that wasn't even real porn.
So, sidetrack, when you're trying to collect, the full library, are you going for unlicensed stuff too?
It depends. If it's I feel NES has a pretty famous unlicensed library that most people are aware of. So I feel like the Tengen games, they're technically unlicensed, but like I feel they're a part of the collection because they're so just ingrained in everyone's childhoods. I don't think a lot of the stuff like Bubble Bath Babes isn't priority, but if I found one, yeah, I'm going mostly licensed with the also special. Because again, like people are making, ROM hacks and all that kind of stuff now of NES games. Like you can go down such a rabbit hole. There are thousands upon thousands if you want to get like, oh, these were sold, so do they technically count? For me, no. But there's some decent cool ones. Like I bought the Mega Man 2 anniversary NES cards. Yeah, I don't know if it was limited run. I'd have to find it. There was a company, I think it might have been 8-bit.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so they did that, and they did Mega Man X, so they kind of did like some anniversary carts that are, official. They're official, but so like for stuff like that, I can be like, okay, I feel those are cool enough to have. But as far as like, does that complete my collection? No. If I didn't have them, I wouldn't feel like I was, cheating by not counting it.
Yeah.
And are you going for like Nintendo World Championship and the track one? I can't remember the name of that one.
Theoretically. Yeah, I mean,
if I have an extra 10 grand, 20 grand laying around, sure.
Yeah, the way that I'm looking at mostly, because like I got into the game way too late, so unless I get a $20 million movie or something ridiculous, it's not worth it. So like there's games that I want that I am content if I never get. Like they don't make me feel like I've failed if I can't get stadium events.
Right. I'm
like
kind of in the same boat. Yeah.
Like I would love to have them. I'm not gonna I haven't actively given up, but if that's like the last thing I need at some point, I'm fine. Like if I don't find a deal under 100 grand, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna be the end of the world.
It's crazy how much those go to. Speaking of super rare games, I'm gonna kind of skip here for a second, move this around. Somebody donated Atari's Air Raid to Goodwill.
Jesus.
Which, for those who don't know, it's around a $10,000 game. Current bids $4,500. It is live right now if you want to buy it.
Oh, Goodwill actually knew what they had?
Well, no, they put things on auction on Goodwill.com. So all they did was vintage Atari 2600 Air Raid game. I don't even know if it has the title on it. So yeah, somebody probably told them, or maybe it's somewhere on the cart somewhere that it says Air Raid, but it's not very many of these exist. Like this is a truly super rare game. And I'm pretty sure that's the grail of the Atari system.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Mom, where's my Atari box?
I donated to
That
Goodwill. We
what?
got a $15 tax deduction.
You don't
Well,
even
now you get a
play, you don't even
$10,000
play
tax
it anymore.
Yeah, right. You don't play them anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
right. Like
let
my
some
mom.
little kid. Yeah.
Yeah. So short on that. Game Boy battery mod released. And it looks like it's a fairly simple one. You just have to connect like one wire inside the Game Boy,
Yeah.
and it essentially has a USB-C port on it, and it comes with a little, backing for your battery thing, so you don't have to cut into it with an X-Acto knife and stuff. And it's $25,
That's not bad.
and the battery lasts up to 24 hours
So half as long
on one
as
charge.
four AA's.
Those things lasted forever.
Yeah.
They also have an XL version, which gives you an extra 6 hours, but you have to like cut into stuff on your Game Boy. I was like, who's gonna do that for 6 hours? Like,
Yeah.
gotta have those extra 6 hours.
I mean, you know how gamers are. Just to be able to say, I got XL. I got the XL version, bro.
Yeah.
They absolutely will do that. They will cut a finger off trying to install it and still being like worth it. Got 2 pinkies. Who cares?
But this company's also working on wireless charging, like
Like a
whatever they call
Qi
that.
charger.
Yeah. So like being able to just put it on a plate or whatever and charge it like your phone.
Yeah.
The website, and it's called Retro6. They do a lot of modding type stuff for original hardware. They have like different cases. You can get different screens, HD audio stuff, and it's all really affordable, relatively speaking. Like, we're
Yeah, but
talking
you got to
20,
do it yourself.
30.
It's all DIY.
Right. So, I mean, no, well, you can buy them fully assembled and stuff
Oh,
too,
really?
but of course you're paying a premium for that. Um, but yeah, you can get personalized labels for Game Boy games and stuff like that. You can submit your own design. Like, it's just like a super cool website. And modding for these handhelds is not the most awful thing. Like, I refurbished, quote unquote, an old SP and put a new shell on it. It took me an hour, and I'm not a tinkerer. So I think these kind of mods, if you have a Y screwdriver and maybe a set of pliers or something, you can do it. It's not like you have to solder or anything. Most of the time, sometimes you do. But yeah, really approachable, affordable options for that kind of stuff. It's super cool.
Yeah.
These
I
things
feel this
still
would be
run
out
too.
of my. Yeah, I was gonna say I feel this would be out of my my skill set here. I don't know how to do that. I mean, that's always this thing. Like, it's a very me specific thing, but even stuff like easy install. All you need to do is hold these 2 things at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
I'm out. I'm done. Let's. It's like if you can hold 2 things at once, it's $10. If you can't, that'll be $1,200. Please, we'll do it for you. Like, oh,
Great.
good.
Thanks. Yeah.
I still have my DMG from childhood, but I never play it because it's just such a miserable experience to stare at that screen. So I should mod it, but I can't bring myself to mod it because
Well, it's the original
it's
one.
my original one from my childhood.
You can get a really banged up Game Boy for not that much, and
That's
then
what I should do.
put a new shell on it and all that kind
New
of stuff.
screen is really the key.
Yeah,
But then it's
the
like,
screens.
why don't you just get a Game Boy Color and mod that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Then might as well
banged up
you
Game
just get a
Boys,
pocket.
we talked about this I think before we started going. I went to the Nintendo New York store and
Yeah.
got to see the famous Iraq bombed Game Boy that still works. Like those old Game Boys were durable as hell.
They were.
Dang.
you
Yeah.
had to go out of your way to break. So like it was just cool getting to see the actual one. It's just like it's all like melted and burnt to shit, but still running Tetris pretty well.
Yeah, that's amazing,
Amazing.
really.
Yeah.
Modern electronics don't do that.
I mean, by design. I mean, I'm not breaking new ground here. Like Apple iPhones are designed basically to. Okay, it's been 2 years. Let's go ahead and fuck this up.
Get your ass to the store.
So
homie.
you can buy another one now.
Why did it spontaneously combust? Like, what kind of countdown? It's like an
Because
MI6
boats are
countdown.
expensive, Jay.
Yeah, I'll do it. My iPhone just keeps sending racist text messages. I think it's time to. Is that a new update? I didn't do it. like, well, you better get a new one. That one's broken. You're gonna have to. The new ones are not racist. The new ones don't. They don't say anything. So you might want to
get one
that.
of the new woke edition.
I didn't know this old white iPod was that way. It's fine.
They got an iPod color, dummy.
I feel like Briar would be excited about this. Metal Slug Tactics is announced.
Is this a mobile game?
No, I don't think so. It says Steam, I think right now, but it's by the same company who's doing Windjammers, which you're excited about, right,
I am.
Briar?
Windjammers too, yeah.
It says it's currently only been confirmed for Steam, but I can't imagine it wouldn't be on Switch and stuff because it's a freaking, and it looks like if you've ever played Final Fantasy Tactics or like a Fire Emblem game, it's like that isometric top-down view, but it looks exactly like in a 16-bit Metal Slug game. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's like Advance Wars and Metal Slug mixed together.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that really good pixel art. Like it looks really, really pretty. I like the Metal Slug games. I'm not like super nostalgic for them, but they look great, and they're always going to look great. Like just that style is just always. That's why nobody's making PS1 style games right now. but this kind of pixel art will always be around.
Cool borders for your Switch with no updates. Great. Awesome.
Yeah, good.
I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll definitely check this out. I'll wait till Limited Run comes out with a physical copy though, probably.
Right. Man, I'm still speaking of Limited Run, that's the next thing on the list, but just to preface it, I want to buy things from Limited Run.
Yeah.
But I don't want to open up that rabbit hole. I feel like once I get started, it's over.
It's a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah, and it just keeps coming.
Yeah,
I have managed, and I'm very proud of myself, to only buy the games that I actually want to buy. I normally, like, if I ever find the other ones, that's why it's going to be so hard to complete like a PS4 or a Vita or a Switch.
It's going to be impossible.
Because you'll have that shit, and then
and
then plus they'll do like, okay, for $30 here's this version, for $50 here's the bonus version, and for $150 here's the mega ultra bonus version, and you're just like, shit, like how do I pre-order all this? So
some of these games from Limited Run,
like.
Some of these games from Limited Run are already going for hundreds of dollars for the PS4 and for the Switch. So it's like, imagine in 20 years when kids are nostalgic for this stuff and they're trying to get it, it's going to be impossible.
Do you think kids are buying Limited Run stuff right now?
No,
or do you think
adults are.
People our age,
but kids are going to get nostalgic for that game they played on their Switch when they were a kid and go to find a physical copy because the Nintendo store will be shut down by then for the Switch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because most of these games are $10 to $30 digital. Like if you just want to play the game, it's super simple. So it's like I think a lot of people play these and just eventually, like Briar's saying, will want to have a physical thing. I mean, that's how I am. I know theoretically I could play all these NES games on a RetroPie and be done with it.
Hold up, they're re-releasing Plumbers Don't Wear Ties for the Switch?
Oh yeah, they are.
What the fuck? They have jumped the shark.
Apparently, it's like it's like one of their most requested games.
Come on, ironically, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Let's keep doing this.
I don't know what that game is. Now I need to know.
Was it 3DO or Philips CDI?
I think it was 3DO.
3DO.
Yeah,
it was
3DO.
Oh god,
hardly a video game.
Oh god, this looks like Night Trap.
It's along those lines, but it's worse than Night Trap because it's not even like full video. It's stills. It's like it's like photograph. It's not even showing the video. Like it is it's like someone put PowerPoint on a 3DO disc.
Yeah,
and like it's
from the 90s though, 1997 PowerPoint. It's
a lot
terrible.
Of scantily clad images of women that I'm looking. I googled the game Plumbers Don't Wear Ties and I hit images and I'm like, is this porn? No.
That's kind of what it's supposed to be. Like that game is impressive because I don't know how people can be bad actors in still photography. like how can you be a bad actor in a still? Like Like just look at those. You could be like none of like what is that? It's garbage.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So I was very happy with myself after seeing this this list of 30 from the limited run conference. There's only maybe 4 that I think I'm gonna try to get.
Which 4?
So I'm doing Contra Anniversary Collection,
Definitely.
the Double Dragon and Kunio-kun Retro Brawler bundle.
Okay.
Then Retromania Wrestling. I collect most wrestling games, just in general. And then I'm considering I will probably get the Castlevania Requiem, Thoma Symphony of the Night, and Rondo of Blood.
That's good. I have that. I think that's the same one that they released digitally a few years ago, and it's really good.
Yeah.
I'll also get Rondo of Blood for the Turbo Duo, so I can play it on the analog Duo when it comes out.
Yeah, whenever they decide to do any pre-orders or new information on that.
Right. But
Get in
that
my
I have the
9-minute window.
Castlevania Anniversary Collection. It's fantastic, so I'm looking forward to get the Contra one. It's available digitally now. I've just been waiting for like exactly this.
It straight up gives
Verge
me
too. I'll get.
Yeah, I'll probably like Axiom Verge. I just feel will get more commercial release at some point. Like I feel the first one did.
Yeah.
The first one became really like it was very difficult to find physical, and then became relatively easy. I think the Wii U one was the only one that was really tricky to find.
I can see picking up Super Hot too because it's one of my favorite games of the last 10 years.
Did you play in VR?
Mm-hmm.
So
I played it both.
Straight up, looking at this list, I'm getting like panic attack anxiety. No, I'm not even joking. Like my heart's starting to go because I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking like, oh my God, there's so many things I want to get, but do I really want to go down this rabbit? Like I am straight up getting like, I need to close this list. It's amazing, but fuck.
Yeah, and this is why they do so well because like they make you make the decision because if you don't buy it during the pre-order time, it's going to be 2 to 3 times as much when you go buy it from a reseller. So
it
it's
used
like
to
you
be
got to
worse.
make that decision right now.
It used to be worse. They used to just make 1,500 copies, and once they were sold out, they were sold out. You know.
Yeah, I started with limited run and like the near the tail end of that before they started doing more of the here's a 4-week pre-order window. And
I try and like if I'm gonna buy something, I try and wait till the end of that 4-week pre-order window too, just in case something else I want to buy. Because they also like to charge you like a arm and a leg for shipping.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just buy like two things at a time or 3 things at a time. But they always come out with great packaging. They always come out with like really cool limited edition sets. Like the stuff they make is really nice. It's just, you know, if you want to have a full collection of limited run, you are
you need to be rich or you're 3 years too late to start.
Yeah.
Like if you got in early, then
yeah, maybe. But they do
I
number.
remember watching like some YouTube video. It might have been like Metal Jesus Rocks or like one of those type of channels where they're like, I got a complete set of limited run, and it was like 20 games at the time. and I was like, I don't know if you still have that because it's cool. I love that they do it. At this point, I feel like why I feel more comfortable just buying what I want is I feel it's a little oversaturated.
Yeah.
A little bit because now it's awesome that they're doing it, but like they just announced 30 new games, whereas like at one point you could like do them by number, and it was like, oh, that's number 28. Like, oh god, we got to get.
Yeah.
And
there's also
like,
a bunch of companies
doing
it, right?
Whatever.
There's like Special Reserve and like there's probably 5 or 6 companies.
Super rare games.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I
like the fact that you can get these games that would have been digital only in a physical copy. You know, like I don't think that you would have gotten these games physically if Limited Run wasn't out here doing this.
Right. My local retro game store has at one point they had all of them, and at one point they had a complete Switch collection. They don't currently have a complete Switch collection, but they said they have the largest brick and mortar collection for sale of Switch games in the world. Is the local Portland one.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Incredible.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, you mentioned the Special Reserve games, the other one. They announced a game during their little thing, a Demon Throttle, that's physical only. Like, so they went like old school on it. Like, there won't be a digital release for it. So it's
I like
digital
the name
only
of that
stuff.
game.
Yeah, it looked pretty fun too. I went ahead and I pre-ordered it. I'm not gonna. Yeah, SRG exclusive, only physical, never digital. That is literally like the the title for it. So that's one. If you want it, you gotta go buy it physical.
It's cool though.
Yeah, and the game looked pretty fun. Like it looks like the type of like kind of old school game I will enjoy playing.
Yeah. Do you play mostly old school games, or do you play new games as well?
I play a lot of new stuff. I'm really excited. Like it's very weird because like my girlfriend brought this up. She's like, "You barely play the old stuff," and I'm like, "Well, because it's been in storage. I haven't had like the room. I mean, you guys know, like if you want to have all your old consoles set up, you need space and you need to figure out how to hook all that in. And I just haven't had that space. So I've had my Xbox Series X and my Switch is readily available. So that's mostly what I play right now. But I'm excited to actually get all this back on the shelves and like, okay, I can finally start playing some of these PS1 games that I heard were cool and doing
Yeah.
that. So I'm excited to deep dive a lot of that again.
Do you have a CRT, or are you going to be playing on a modern display?
I have a CRT, so I will have.
Now we're
I'll have
talking.
three. Yeah, I'll have three TVs total. So the one you can see right there is the 4K. So this is the modern room that I'm technically in, and then in the room across the hall, I got a CRT, and then I have like a just kind of like your standard 1080, kind of that mid tier. Not whatever it is, just a normalized TV.
Yeah.
My girlfriend thinks I'm insane. I have too many TVs.
I can relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, but I will. She's very supportive. She just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
She's not convincing me it's stupid or wanting me to get rid of anything. But she's more just like, I don't get it, but you seem very happy, and that makes me happy. So
Yeah.
as
My
long
wife
as we can
has
pay
a-
the bills. Yeah,
My wife
as
has
long
a
as we can
horse,
buy a
so she
house.
can't really say shit about any hobby.
I always get excited. Like, I got this for this, much, and it's worth this much. And she'll be like, great.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'm like,
hon.
like but she's the same way. She knows this is my thing. And, we'll be talking about the Super Mario thing in a minute. And, if I end up selling that, it's like it all comes to fruition. Right. And I've been able to buy most of my collection without really spending much out of her pocket. It's just time and stuff, but she gets it. But yeah, she doesn't get it, but she understands that I need it or want it.
Yeah, need it.
I need it.
Yeah. We basically have an understanding, and I think part of it's nice that like we kind of got back together when we were both mature adults. It's like, hey, as long as we're taking care of the important stuff and we're saving money for the future and we're gonna buy a house, as long as we're taking care of all that, it's your damn money. You work hard. So if this stuff makes you happy, go do it.
What's the
When it
point
starts
if you're
to-
not making yourself happy? Like, what's the point?
Oh yeah, like I maybe it's just because I grew up so poor. We never really had money. So like in my head, like I'm not looking to just blow through everything I have. Like I'm saving and like I have a lot of that, but like I don't want to wait till I'm 80 and can't move to be like I can go buy Mario 3 in box now. That's gonna be. No, I want to enjoy the shit while I still can walk.
The brothers on the left.
Yeah.
Do you know about that? Do you know about the first print Mario Brothers?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that you're going to be talking about?
Well, no. So Super Mario Brothers 3 if the brothers on the left, it means it's a first print.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought we were mixing that.
No, that's why Briar's joking about it, because we talked about it like early on in the podcast, and he's like, "Oh."
I had no idea.
I thought brothers on the left might have been coming from your old racist iPhone. I got really confused there for a second. I was like, wait, what? I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
That's how we
Wait
keep
a
them
minute.
segregated.
Yeah, they're only on the left. Like, no iPhone, no. That's bad news.
This is part of the
this?
limited.
Yep.
Yeah, this is part of the limited run 30 game announcement. But Rondo of Blood, famously, a lot of people say this is the best of the Castlevania series before it became like more Metroidvania. Is getting a kind of retro release on the Turbo Duo, so it'll be a printed disc that'll work with a Turbo Duo, and it's gonna be localized. So this has never been localized for the Turbo Duo before. They've done like kind of janky localized versions for re-releases on the PS
PSP
Vita.
I think?
Was it PSP or PS Vita? I can't remember.
I think it's part of a collection for PSP. It's
Okay,
like a collection
PSP.
of 2 or 3 game. And then isn't Dracula X for SNES like a really bad port of
Sort
it,
of.
basically? Like
Yeah.
it's in the ballpark, but it's shitty.
Yeah.
And expensive
Yeah.
for no reason.
I love that when a shitty game is expensive.
It's more often than not what ends up happening because
Right.
nobody
Yeah.
wants it when it first gets released.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm a big Castlevania fan, so basically you put Castlevania on the side of the box and I'm gonna buy it.
Good to know. Well, I got a lot of stuff around here I'm looking to get rid of. I'm just gonna Castlevania.
Yeah.
Backwards S's. So they're cute.
That makes it's like the Stussy S. Should we talk about some Guardian Legend?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, right, you're the one who brought this game to our attention,
Yes.
and you said it's your favorite NES game.
I would say, yeah. It's, I mean, favorites always kind of flux, but I'd say this is
Sure.
pretty consistently, of the games I played the most as a kid. I don't know the exact hours, but it would be this and Tecmo Super Bowl.
Oh, so you
Like,
actually
those would be
had
the
this game when
two.
you were a kid. This wasn't like
Yes.
a
Yeah,
recent
yeah, so
find.
This is a childhood nostalgia, like it's more like you don't know as like kid what you had and like what's gonna be like popular because like not many people I don't want to go like this isn't like a hidden gem. It's not like not that far. People know about almost everything on the NES now, but a lot of people didn't have it. Like no one played this really as a kid that often. So, but like we just play like me and my buddy, we both had it. We played it all the damn time. Like, we just
Yeah.
thought like, oh, this is a cool game for the NES.
I
And
don't
we
think
loved
I
it
even
so.
heard of this until Jay said it was kind of your pick for the show. It was completely news to me. So this was my first experience playing it. And I got to say, I was really impressed by this game. Usually when you get a game, this game has two different styles of gameplay too, right? It's like almost a Zelda-ish kind of maze-like kind of thing. And then a shooter. And it does both really well. Like both of those game types are fun in this game. So it's not like, oh, I got to play. It's not like Blaster Master where you get out of the vehicle and you got to suffer through the part where you're on foot,
Awful, you're
right?
swimming and like when you're a tiny guy.
Yeah.
Awful.
It's legitimately fun. Both versions or both parts of the gameplay in this are legitimately fun, which isn't necessarily true about a lot of games at this age.
Yeah, that was the thing I was gonna say about it too. It's not gimmicky because they're both pretty well represented. Like it's not like a bonus game. Like, oh, you get to do this little shooter thing, and it's kind of that's whatever. It's not like it's not an exact 1-to-1, but like the gummy ship in like Kingdom Hearts.
Mhm.
That's just tacked on for no reason. Like that's technically like a shooter thing, but that's not fun. There's no point to it being there. It's just like, oh, look, we did this thing, huh? Like these are both like very integral parts of how this game is set up, and they're both really fun to play. Like I prefer the shooter part myself, just 'cause I love those type of games. But like this game is just fun, and it's just like, and you don't feel like most people aren't gonna like play like one of it and be like, oh god, when could I just get to the shooter part? Because
Yeah.
this is a slog. Why are we doing this? Like it's fun to do that to get to the shooter part, even if that's what you love the most.
Yeah. I kind of like the setup for it too. It's like there's like a planet hurtling toward Earth, and on it is like some kind of mysterious race that's gonna take us over or destroy us. And we've sent our, I guess, the last guardian or the guardian legend to defend us. And it's a female and it's a transformer. Like you literally transform between like the female form and the ship. And
The ship, yeah.
it's
You are
pretty
the ship.
apparent. Yeah, it's pretty apparent. It's not like, like you could see it happen in 8-bit graphics. I thought was pretty impressive. Like it's very apparent what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's pretty too. Like yeah, like it's kind of just it's well done. The music's great with it too. Like it's
Yeah.
great atmospheric. Like I still get the tunes occasionally just in my head, like driving. Like I'll just occasionally hear it
Yeah.
as I'm like dodging through traffic or whatever. It's like I'll hear I'll hear like the music of the stupid I can never remember the name of the boss, but the big eyeball squiggly monsters.
Right.
Like that music will just be in my head as I'm dangerously driving.
So I did enjoy the game as well. I had never played it. I've owned it for a while, and like every time I go to the game store, I'm like, is there any like hidden gems that like every single time they talk about this game, I'm like, yeah, I got that game. I should check it out. And then another one is like Journey to Silius is another one of their like ones that they always talk about. So playing this, I mean, I enjoyed it for the most part. I'm not the biggest Zelda fan, so like that part of this game where you have to like kind of hunt and peck for the weapons and the keys to stuff and things like that wasn't my favorite part. Um, but being able to have a map is super nice. Obviously,
a map with
like
an
Super
objective
Metroid.
like blinking too, right?
Right. Yeah, like go here, but it has the objective blinking, but it doesn't tell you that like the weapons are in a certain zone that
No,
you want to go look for, because if you do the shooting levels without the upgraded weapons and stuff, you're kind of like SOL a
Yeah,
little
it gets
bit.
pretty
you
hard.
got to be pretty. You got to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Otherwise to do
I
that.
definitely used the super button on my 8-bit do controller because, on the shooter part, oh my gosh, it made such a difference. But there was one thing specifically that kind of bugged me as somebody who's discovering this game. There's so many different weapons to like upgrade and use your coins or whatever the I forget what
The
they're called.
chips.
The
I think they're
chips,
called,
yeah. So basically, for those who haven't played it, once you get 100 chips, you have like an upgraded weapon that does this awesome, like swirly, like 3 kind of column type shot as opposed to a singular shot. And it makes a huge difference. But if you're lower than 100, you go back to the singular, like pew 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 shot. And when you're getting new weapons, especially when you're like going up against the boss fight and stuff like that, when you're flying, you can't really just use the singular shot because of the way that it like moves and stuff. And trying to like use one of the different weapons, like it just doesn't work because it's too short range and stuff. And then by the time I realize it's not going to work for this boss, and I try to go back to using the regular shot, you lost a couple of chips because the special weapons use those chips too. And so in the trial and error phase, you lose your chips, and then you're kind of SOL because you can't use the upgraded weapon in the boss fight anymore. So if you don't have more weapons to use, it's kind of a wiped run, and you have to start all over and go discover more weapons. It just that part of it for me, the trial and error part was a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, I will completely agree with that. I feel that's just like a trope of game design of that era,
Yeah.
though. Like it just. I mean, how many times like, oh, there's no password system, or like, oh, I died and now I have to go back 6 levels
Yeah,
to do
right.
that. I think it's part of that like that false lengthening of the games, basically. Because it's like ultimately like if you know where you're going and what you're doing, and not even like speed running this game, if you just know what you're doing, you can probably beat this in 3 hours.
Mhm.
If you kind of have an idea of where to go and what to do, and so like that's kind of like in the discovery phase of it. Yeah, like part of it is like, well, that didn't fucking work. All right, time to go reload and try this thing next time.
I did like how it saved some of the stuff. It saved your weapons and it saved like what level you were on. But yeah, you'd start at the beginning of the level if you had to continue and stuff. For sure.
Did you have to, Jay? Did you have to use the password feature at all?
I didn't, but I looked at it. And every review, because I was researching like
Yeah.
fun
Oh
facts
boy.
about this stuff.
Oh boy.
It's like it's the most convoluted password system I've ever thought. Like, how many different, like, okay, well, we can't have, the normal 1,000 versions of a password. We have to have something that can basically go into the billions or something. Because they had like, if you ever open up a keyboard on your phone and you go to the special characters with like the dots over it and like the squigglies and stuff, it's like a full
There's a lot of
alphabet.
umlauts, a lot of a lot of stuff going on.
It's like the full alphabet normal and then the full alphabet with all these symbols on it. And it literally has a test. I've never seen this before in a video game. So it shows you the password, and to make sure you've written it down correctly,
Yeah.
because we didn't have phone cameras back then. You had to write all this stuff down. So in order to ensure that you wrote it down carefully, there's a test system to make sure that the code is correct before proceeding in the game. Like, what? That's a sirens going off. Hello, this is too complex. If you have the test
it's got a full set of capitals, there's I don't know 20 characters that you got to put in. There's a full set of capital letters, a full set of lowercase letters, numbers, like all of it. Yeah, squigglies. It's like there's so much that you have to go through. And then if you mess up any one of those characters by just putting like a capital L instead of a lowercase L, it's not going to work. It's just like you got to look through it with a. It's funny when I looked up the game manual because I don't have a physical copy. I played it on a Mister. I looked up the game manual, and the game manual that was online had written in the codes for all of the, like in the back in the notes section.
Yeah, this is one of those things, like, I am not like the biggest fan of like emulation just as a principle. As a collector, I'd rather have the physical stuff than that. I would recommend for not just this game, but a lot of games of this era that have these really convoluted bad password systems. If you can play it in something that you can save state, it's gonna save you a lot of headaches. Because I mean, I remember as a kid when you're handwriting shit. And like you're like, okay, I wrote this down. Here we go. And then you go back to continue your game later, and you're like, well, I'm starting from the beginning, I guess.
Yep.
Because I don't know which one of these squiggles was wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of that, I was trying to get a complete copy. Like I've had 4+ weeks to try to get my hands on a complete copy, and the only copies on eBay that have been complete are like either in Canada for like almost $200, which is not a $200 game.
Yeah, it's
or it's busted condition, for like 80. And I'm like, if I could find a nice condition one for 60 to 80, I'd pick it up. But that's still above what they're worth. And it's just like, I don't know why it was so hard to find a complete one. I'll still be looking for one. It's not a rare game, but the only real featurette video that I saw was from Cinemassacre, the people who do Angry Video Game Nerds, and they did a top 10 like obscure NES game list, and this was number 1. And the reason I mentioned this,
I think that video was from like 2007
12,
or something like
2012,
Okay, so it was
May of 2012. And the reason I know that specifically because every other game on this list on May of 2012, if you track on price charting, it's like 10, 15, 18, it does this. And as soon as it hits May, it goes, it just goes way up because that video. And it like all the other games just kept going up, like Felix the Cat, which I own, is like a game that did that was on the list, and a bunch of other ones. I can't remember if Gunnack was on the list. I think it was another one that's like stupid expensive now. But this game, if you go back and look at price charting, May of 2012, it goes like this. It goes whoop to like, it was a $2 game. It went up to 18. And then a month later it goes whoosh and it comes right back down to like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Like, why I could not find anything about why this game came crashing down after that. Like nothing.
I don't get it because like it's like I love this game, but I'm also not someone who's gonna like fight you if you don't think it's the greatest game of all time.
Right.
But like, it's a high quality game as far as like those like it's not embarrassing. I don't like it out of pure nostalgia because like it was the one game I owned when I was 6 kind of thing, like it's a quality game. So like, yeah, that is very strange to me that it kind of went up quickly and then went back down. And like, cause like complete might be a little tricky to find just based on availability and what's out there, but you can get it for $10 to $12 a cart only if you want. Now it's like, that's nothing as far as like an NES library is.
Right.
Or if they just sold so many copies of it that it's so available that it was hard to maintain a high price for it.
It was advertised everywhere. It was a Nintendo Power and stuff, but they also
a lot of people thought it was like like the new Zelda game.
Really?
Really?
I guess the original TV commercial for
it had Zelda
was like
come in.
First Zelda, then Zelda 2, now the Guardian Legend.
Yeah, I was like,
and people were like, "Wait, what?
Are they allowed to do that?"
And then it went to some other game completely, like the Guardian Legend, and then this too. Like that was the TV advertising for it. So everyone was. It had really weird marketing.
I did see that commercial actually, and they talked about that on Cinemassacre, I think.
Yeah.
Or a different thing that I saw, but the company Compile actually did Gunnack as well, which is bordering $400 for the cart right now.
Wow.
And they did what is it, Musha on Genesis, which is a super expensive game as well.
Yeah.
They did Xanac, which is not an expensive game, but a lot of people enjoyed that. They did the Puyo Puyo series. Like they've done a ton of stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a sequel to this game that was Japan only.
So yeah, I put that on the list. That's called No, actually, that's what this game is. So the prequel to this game is just called Gartic, and it was an MSX game, which is it was like a Microsoft. I had to look up what MSX was because I had never heard of it. It was it almost looks like an Odyssey or one of the Sega S1000 or whatever that's called. It's kind of one of those Commodore looking keyboard systems, and it says Sony on it. Or Sony, yeah. So it was developed by the ASCII Corporation and Microsoft, but it's got a Sony logo. It's so weird. I want to read more about that system. But so the game before it was Gartic, which I looked up some video of Gartic, and it looks like it's just the flying stuff, but it's almost like in a singular room and there's stuff flying at you and you're like having to almost like Arkanoid or something where you're
Okay.
like or Space Invaders where you're having to dodge stuff and shoot, and it just looks really kind of oddball simplistic. But yeah, so the sequel is the Guardian Legend and it's called Gardic Gaiden in Japan.
Hmm.
Got it.
The game appeared in the September 1989 issue of Nintendo Power as number 9 of the top 30 NES, as rated by Nintendo Power.
Is rated by Nestor? Was that
Nestor?
Nestor's ratings? Nice.
It was on the IGN top 100 as well. It was like number
Was it?
87 or something. I think it was above Super Mario Bros. 2.
That's pushing it.
Yeah, like on my own personal list, yes, this is above, but like that's a hard argument for me to make on like if we're getting a lot of opinions in.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, like that's I'm not that guy.
We've
I always try to like when I make lists of things, like I try to always differentiate what my top 10 is
Right.
versus what I think is like the top 10
Yeah.
of a system, you know.
Briar and I have talked about that because there's a bunch of books out that have like, the top whatever games of what, NES and stuff. And number one, like when number 1 through 10, it's always weird. It's everybody's, it's one person's opinion. So it's tough to really put that on there.
A
As
lot
long
of
as they
a lot
all
of
know
reviews.
they're always wrong.
Yes, that's correct. A lot of reviewers really compare this to The Legend of Zelda and Life Force, and that seems like a
Mhm.
pretty good comparison. It's like a
Yeah.
kind of combination of those two games in a really fun way.
Yeah, and 2 games that I also really enjoy.
Yeah.
So that's probably a big reason why this stuck with me. It scratched those 2 itches at the same time.
Yeah. It's nice
So-
that it's not a super expensive game too. It's like
Right.
it's a good pickup.
I was gonna ask. I never really figured out because I was too afraid to. In the beginning area, or probably any area, when you go to one of those slides on the map, and it just like goes boop boop boop, and it has like the kind of gates coming in. What happens if you stay in that room?
You fight a mini boss, and then when you
Yeah.
beat the little mini boss, you get a new weapon or a new
Oh,
power up
son
or
of
a
a
new. So, yeah, yeah. That might have helped. That might have helped you a ton. I can't
I
even
was
believe
afraid.
out of curiosity. I can't even believe you didn't.
No, like I was just because I didn't have a ton of time this morning, and I was just like, I just need to beat the flying level, and I ended up beating the first boss. It took me a while, but yeah, every
I
time
didn't even
those
realize you could run through those until like the third time it happened.
every time I did that, I was like freaking out, like, get out of the room, go backwards,
Yeah.
come back in, like
and it's like it's even set up nice too, because like there's a good difficulty curve on that. Because like the early ones, you would have to try hard to die. You would just have to
Mhm.
not shoot to kill
Yeah,
those.
I
like,
think
to
there's
see
one of
kinda
the
what
early
the
ones.
trope is.
One of the early ones just teleports around the room, but he doesn't actually attack you. So you'd have to like
Yeah, he-
stand there and wait for him to teleport on top of you.
Yeah, or just like deliberately run at him.
Yeah.
So that you could.
well, now I
Oh,
want to go back and play it and get that stuff because that would be a huge help.
my sweet boy Jay.
I was trying to figure out how to get more than 100 chips. Like I couldn't figure it out to
Yeah,
unlock stuff.
that's a big way. That's a big way.
Great,
Because you'll
awesome.
get that, you'll get more weapon upgrades. You'll upgrade like your standard gun and shield power.
Right.
that
Well, I got
way.
to the second area. I found the blue dude who was selling the stuff, but like some of it was 150 chips.
Lolo.
I'm like, I don't have 100
That's
chips.
Lolo.
I got 100.
Oh yeah,
It is Lolo.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't think it's Lolo, but it's fucking Lolo.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah,
Lolo.
Yeah. It's funny.
I really
there
like
is-
this game.
Yeah, it was fun. There is the only other thing that I found like facts wise is that you can actually put in the password TGL, just 3 letters.
Yep, the Guardian Legend.
The
Yeah, and you
capital
get to play.
or lowercase?
I don't think.
Capital.
Oh,
It is capital.
yeah, you get to play just the shooter parts. It'll
Oh,
take
that's
you through
cool.
just the shooter parts. Yeah.
Does it still like do the? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I don't
That's
know
a
how
really fast playthrough.
So yeah. Spoilers. They give you the game gives you that's your reward for beating the game the first time. I think I
Mhm.
originally saw that like in a magazine or something. But it does when you beat the game, it'll be like enter this password for a new adventure,
Mhm.
and you're basically only doing the flying stuff, which I enjoy that challenge because I like the flying a little bit more than the other stuff.
Have you played Gunnack?
I have not. No.
So if you, I mean, obviously it's an expensive cart, but if you can get your hands on it, it was made by Compile, and people say that it's like the best shooting game on the NES.
Okay, so
Really?
I believe, Briar, I just heard that Jay is donating me a copy of Gunnack.
Yeah,
So
that's
thank
what I
you,
heard.
Jay. That's very sweet. Very
Complete in
sweet.
box, like you like it.
Yeah,
So, so,
such
so
such accommodating hosts. I
I
like that.
do have 2 copies. However, one of them is cart only, and the other one is sealed and graded by VGA.
Oh,
Okay, so I'll take
And it
that
was
one.
my,
And
it was
then
my
that's
open it
own,
up.
really nice.
it was
gift.
my own. Sounds like you need to open it.
Yeah,
The only reason I bought it like a year and a half ago is because the person sold it at the current complete in box price. And I was like, it's sealed and graded. Of course I'm gonna buy it for the complete in box price. And CIB prices are almost double what I picked it up as now. It's just stupid how expensive that game is. It's almost $400 just for the cart. It's
I've
insane.
never played it.
Yeah, I've always heard good things, but I've not played it because I'm
Is
also
it,
someone like I don't emulate.
is
I
it
probably
bad that
just
I
should to
haven't played
try
it either?
stuff. Yeah. Yes.
You own 2 copies?
Yeah,
Well,
you're
obviously,
over there hoarding the copies.
I mean, if you want to
Yeah.
borrow it to play, I'll ship it to you, and you can ship it back if I can trust you.
Oh yeah, yeah. The old 3-finger discount. Is that what we're going for here?
Never trust a man with a beard.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to let you know something, Joe. You could do that, and then you'd be like, he stole it. No one's gonna believe that the handicapped guy wronged you.
I
All
have
right.
the footage.
Just so you know. Just so you know. Even with the footage, I'm a really good actor.
Yeah.
I'll be like, he deep faked me. This was a deep fake.
He sent me an empty envelope. So is that it for Guardian Legends? Is there anything else?
I think so. I'm glad I finally got to play it. I want to beat it because I think it's a doable thing for sure. It doesn't
Talk
feel
about the
so
art?
difficult. I wasn't in love with the art.
Have you seen the Japanese and European versions of the art?
The European version was a little bit better. At least it kind of gave you an idea, but it's still a little bit Mega Man 2-ish to me.
Well, yeah. Well, it shows the Guardian Legend on the European one. Did you see the Japanese one?
I don't think so.
Go Google that real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the art of this, but it doesn't really tell you what you're playing or what.
No.
I could also fully admit that like it is a nostalgic love for that possibly as well.
Yeah.
The Japanese one is cool.
Yeah.
It's like super anime, like robotic
Geiger-esque
dragon looking thing. Yeah. Not dragon, but like, yeah, it's like super detailed art.
Yeah.
Japan tend to get like much better art overall.
Yeah.
For those. It's like they gave a shit.
Yeah.
And then here they were just like slap something on it. It goes out tomorrow.
Mega Man would be a good example of that, like Mega Man 2 versus Rockman. Rockman had actually had like animated Mega Man on it, but then the US version, it was like they told the guy what it was, but didn't actually let him play the game, and so he made some weird
like that's so wild to think of now.
Right.
That like no, all that's kind of done in like all those teams communicate, and that's why this all. And back then they were just like, "Hey, there's a guy who shoots a gun at robots. Go ahead and make it."
He's literally got a pistol.
Yeah, he's kind of blue. Or he's not. Do whatever you want. We don't give a shit. You got a week.
It's amazing.
Yeah, like no, but like you would be laughed at. Like you wouldn't be allowed to make games anymore if you tried to pull some shit like that. Like, okay, I've hired you to do the art. Well, can I play the game? No.
No.
No, you can't.
What's the
Just
game
do the
about?
art.
Don't worry about it. Just draw a
Yeah.
blue dude.
Yeah.
It wasn't even one time either. Like that
Yeah,
dude made
it's
art for multiple games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Mega Man. That's all you need to know. Figure it out. I thought we hired you, all right? Like,
You're the expert here. Make it pop, would you?
give it some pizzazz.
Honestly, I should buy a poster of that because I love it so much. It's so bad. I love it so much. Jay, do you have any pickups this week?
I have a bunch, but Ryan said he wanted to talk about his. Did you have anything else from the Nintendo store in New York?
I didn't end up buying a ton. Like, they're not really selling. It's just mostly like merch stuff, and they have a little bit of like museum kind of stuff to look at. I bought a pin set. They basically had like 6. I don't know if they're exclusive to there, but like just like pins. Like, I kind of collect little video game. I don't prioritize them, but if I see like, oh, here's some magnets, I will buy those when I'm out and about. So I bought the pin set. As far as pickups, I've done a lot of pre-ordering. This week with E3. And mostly what I pre-order anymore is just Nintendo stuff because it holds its value. It's like I might be able to get it for $5 cheaper in a year.
Yeah.
So I might as well just pre-order it now. So I after today I've pre-ordered Metroid Dread. So I don't know if I'll keep all these, but I currently have a regular, a limited edition, and the Amiibo set. Because I do have a complete in-box Amiibo collection, North American.
Still, how many are those now? Is there like 300 or so?
It's getting up there. It's like 250, and then I have some scattered Japanese ones as well. Those are a little harder to get a hold of.
Yeah, it's insane.
Without like being too much, but I have some of those. So I did that. I pre-ordered. What else did I pre-order today? God, it's sad that I get so excited to pre-order shit. I don't even remember.
Just curious how you display all those Amiibo in a box.
Usually what I do, what the plan is, and we're going to see how annoying it is. In my last apartment that I had before I moved out to California, I would just take like tacks and kind of make hangers for them, and then basically like hang them as if they were on tags. So I would just cover the wall. It looks
I've seen
dope.
that before.
Yeah, it looks dope when you do it. It's a lot of work, and it's hard to keep them like they just get dusty. It's really hard to keep them clean that way. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. So
are you maybe I know a lot of collectors do the IKEA shelves. I don't remember what they're called, and just line the wall with the shelves, and you can media shelf like move stuff around and stuff.
Yeah, I might end up doing that. This is not our forever home, so I'm a little I don't want to do too much that requires like construction or shit that like I'm not gonna want to take off the walls later, kind of thing.
You don't think the next guy is gonna buy you a media wall specifically built for Amiga?
For Amiibos exclusively? Probably not. Probably not. Unless it's
he doesn't deserve your fucking house. How about that?
Yeah, unless one of you guys move in here afterwards.
Sounds good to me, except not California.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this isn't where I'm not in love with California either, but it's good for my work and it's good for my girlfriend's work. So
makes sense.
And I can do my job anywhere, really. I can move in with one of you guys and still do my job. So
right. Well, we've talked about not that,
yeah,
but we've talked about.
Wait, really? Your wife's cool with it? Yeah. Awesome.
In our 3-bed, 2-bath. Yep.
Nice.
But we talked about Ryan is really wanting to get serious about streaming and content creation and stuff as something to do like semi full time. So just putting it out there, I'm sure he's gonna talk about where you can find him and whatnot, but definitely support him, especially if you love retro games. Ryan Niemiller, and his Twitch name, are you still gonna keep that Cripple Threat 8?
Yeah, Cripple Threat 8 on everything. Yep. It's just that's the branding now. So you can find me with that on everything. Just Cripple Threat 8.
Awesome.
So
yeah. I do have a bunch of pickups. Do you have any, Briar?
No.
You should buy the Guardian Legend at least.
I tried. I didn't try that hard though.
Okay.
I was like,
I gave it a shot.
I went to the retro game store and they didn't have it. How about that?
Okay.
I do recommend grabbing it at some point, though. I think
Yeah.
there's I think it's a game that's worth owning at, especially at the price that it's at. It's a game that I
It
would be
is
hard pressed.
inexpensive.
Yeah, if it was a game that like had bumped up to like $150, it'd be a little harder for me to convince people to go do that. But it's gonna be 10 to 15. I think that's well worth the price.
Briar, I'm putting this on video now. If I end up getting a CIB copy soon, I'll just send you mine.
Okay.
I have a decent cart here.
Sounds
Yep.
great.
Hold me to it. So I got something today. I have quite a few things to go over, but I got something today. I actually bought this on Amazon. I spent some time over the weekend. Sometimes you can find gems on Amazon because a lot of times people aren't looking for boxed games on Amazon. So I got Final Fight 2 in box, but the box is super sun faded.
Yeah.
And they advertised it as CIB, but they did say that it was pretty beat up. But I open it up and this is the manual.
Oh
It's
no.
just like printed paper. So I literally just sent them a message about it. It's like obviously not a real manual, so I don't know if I could get like 20 or $25 knocked off because I'm gonna have to pick up a manual now.
Yeah.
I already had the game cart, but I didn't have the box. The box is the hardest thing to find, especially at a decent price. So we'll see what ends up happening with that.
What was different about Final Fight 2? Was it a new game, or was it one of the times that they just because Final Fight for Super Nintendo didn't have all the characters in it, right? And then they had
And I don't think it had co-op. Is that the one
yeah,
I'm
it didn't
thinking
have
of? Like
co-op
the first one
either.
didn't have co-op.
And then they did Final Fight Guy that still didn't have co-op, but had the third character, but was missing one of the original characters. Was Final Fight 2 just like the complete version of Final Fight, or was it a brand new version?
It says 2 players simultaneous with 3 characters to choose from, each with their own unique fighting style. I'm not sure if it is a sequel or not. As far as levels, I don't know if you can tell from the back of the box, but
No, I can't tell.
I don't think I've played it enough.
Streets of Rage is where it was at anyway.
Well, yeah, Sega. That's like because I got that today. I didn't do like any research on it. I've been trying to do research on my pickups so I can talk about it more. But literally, I got that an hour before the show started. Okay, so I got my handy dandy box, my bin of stuff,
box of goodies.
Yeah. So I actually went to the retro store 2 times in 24 hours.
Attaboy.
My wife was out of town with the kids for
Nice.
like she went down for a day trip
Surprised
with
you
her
didn't
friend who's
sleep
got
there.
a couple of kids. And I spent a bunch of time just combing through stuff. I actually found like 5 or 6 doubles that I had in box and carts, and I was like, "Well, get rid of the doubles." And stuff like that, and just stuff. This is all traded. Like I didn't spend a cent. So I'm just gonna start going through Game Boy Color. This is probably one that Ryan will appreciate. It's called Quest Brian's Journey.
Okay.
For Game Boy Color. They had it priced at 29, but it's currently going for like 40 or 50. So that's what I try to do. I try to find stuff that has been maybe sitting on the shelf for a while and they haven't repriced with things going up. And I want to pick them up, like, especially if they're worth quite a bit more than what they price it at. And I'm doing it with trading credits, so it's always awesome. This game, for anybody who's played like Quest 64, it looks kind of Zelda-esque. RPG where it's got live action fighting, but it's also got like abilities and stuff, kind of like Secret of Mana type thing. But I didn't really dive too deep into it, but it definitely looks interesting. Didn't get great reviews. Don't know how much I'm going to play it. A lot of people were kind of frustrated with just how kind of lacking it was in features.
Looks like a game that your grandmother gets your younger brother, and he never played it.
Brian, your name's Brian. It's your journey. Here's an NES game, Isolated Warrior, which was kind of an obscure pickup.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember exactly. Man, I watched the video of it. And I'm trying to remember. It's a side-scrolling, or no, this is the isometric shooter game that got amazing reviews. So it's like an isometric top-down, almost like an Advanced Wars type style, but it's kind of a top-down isometric shooter game, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. Said it was like a really, really cool shooter hidden gem type game. It's you're a guy in isometric levels, but it's like a shmup. It's really interesting.
Like Akari Warriors, kind of.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen video on that, but you're probably accurate. Okay. So they had that priced at 35 and it's currently going for like 50 or 60, which is why I picked it up.
Oh, by the way, but when you are done with this, it didn't even cross my mind because they haven't arrived yet. I actually do have some cool pickups.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I finally got a good win.
Sweet. Yeah,
It just hadn't crossed my mind because I've been traveling and they haven't arrived yet, and I just got the shipping. But I'm happy with this. So,
nice.
but continue. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries, you're good. So Alfred Chicken for the NES. I watched the video of it. You're literally a chicken, and
You're Alfred Chicken.
yeah. And so they have a Super Nintendo version. This is different than the Super Nintendo version, but it kind of looked like they were trying to go for like a Super Mario Bros. 2 vibe. It's really out there, like the enemies and kind of the things that you see and whatnot. It's really bizarre.
Was that based off a movie or was that an original IP?
I'm not sure. I didn't like research too terribly hard into it, but it absolutely should be a cartoon, but some of the stuff in the game wouldn't make sense. People literally in reviews were like, I think the designers were on drugs. Like it's like really bizarre out there.
You sold me.
Yeah.
I'm in.
So this was a weird thing. I saw the price on it. It was priced at 75. You can't really see it. And I was like, why? And I start looking it up. For some reason, the NES version, like it's currently going for like 120, 130. Like it's just.
I want to say it was a later release.
Yeah, it was like
a lot of
really
those are.
late.
It was a 92 or 93. And I think there's a Super Nintendo.
Yeah, the super Alfred Chicken, but it's a different game. I watched some of that. And it was like more polished, but similar stuff. And that's a cheap game. So it was interesting that this one was expensive. Shatterhand for NES,
classic.
which is super awesome looking game. Beat 'em up, like 2D platformer. Almost looks like Contra with Super Metroid, or Contra and Metroid had a baby. And
I think it's a really fun game too. That's one I got. It's a really good one.
You have this little robot that comes out and like fights with you and stuff. Some mixed reviews on it, but overall positive. So I was pretty excited about that. Yeah, I picked it up for 85. Like it's going for about 85, 90 or so, but just it was one of those games that it was in really good shape and I have wanted it for a long time, so I picked it up.
I think that Mega Man artist drew that one too. Just draw a dude that looks like he's rad. Nailed
it. and he's got a robot hand, kind of.
Yeah. The sunglasses too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I gotta have sunglasses, jeans, a white T-shirt.
So it's like a cut off arms shirt. Yeah.
Been there.
I remember what it was like to be rad.
Yeah, that's what every one of my shirts is, a cut off arm shirt.
I never felt like I could pull that off. Color a Dinosaur for NES.
Oh, shit game, but that's a good pickup right there.
Yeah. So like the retro game actually had like 3 copies of it, and they've been sitting on the shelf for years. And you can actually see the price sticker underneath the $99 one. It said $139. So I think they like price stuff down when things don't go. Most of the people, whenever I'm in there, because I'll be in there for like an hour or more, just like looking at there's just so much, and I'll just like, research and put stuff down that they have underpriced and stuff. And as I'm there, I just kind of like key into what other people are doing. A lot of people that go in there are like, oh my God, they have the original Game Boy, and they have, like really surface level excitement type stuff. Or yeah, I'm looking for I want Call of Duty 2 for whatever, like a lot of the stuff is not collectors that go into the store. But every once in a while, actually I was looking at some of the N64 games, and literally the game it was like called Rat something for N64. And this guy is like, yeah, I want to get that Supercross 2000, and then I'm gonna get the WrestleMania game. And then the last one I'll get is this Rat game. And I was like, I was literally looking it up, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll put that on my list. Maybe I'll pick it up today. And I was like, I was literally looking at price charting when he picked it out. And I was like, I was literally looking at the game. He's like, oh, did you want it? I was like, no, you're good. And he told me that he's going for a complete N64 set, and he's like 60 games away or something. And he's from out of town. I was like, nope, have fun, enjoy it. But it was just kind of a weird thing because I don't often see people like that in there. But I looked at videos and reviews. There's a GDQ of Color a Dinosaur, and it's awful.
Yeah, it's for anyone who doesn't know that the title is literally what you do.
Yeah.
It's like the worst part of Mario Paint, but only that.
And you don't really get to choose primary colors. On the front you can kind of see there's red, there's a blue for the sky, and then a primary green, and those are the only primary colors. Everything else is a pattern. Like you see there, if you're looking at the YouTube video, there's like or if you're just listening, there's like plaid, polka dots, and stripes and stuff.
Much like the real dinosaurs were.
Like what?
That's where I remember it.
3 to 6 year olds. But yeah, this is a game that is
Oh,
kind
it
of
says
on
3 to 6 year olds on it.
Yeah, it does. It literally says in the upper part for ages 3 to 6.
Yeah, if you're 7, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You're not gonna enjoy this.
But it's in the 130 to 150 range right now. It's been on rare list for a while. It hasn't gone up too much, but I don't know. I've been looking on it for a long time, and I was like, it's about time to pick it up.
Yeah, that's a game that it's one of the most notorious NES games for like, oh, it's pricey, and like you literally just like for whatever reason it got because there's a lot of shitty old NES games that are also pricey, but for whatever reason that's the one like, really?
Yeah.
That's a game?
And it's got the Nintendo seal of quality on it, you know? This is great. It's an officially licensed Nintendo game. Speaking of terrible games that are expensive, I picked up Wayne's World for NES.
And the game is completely broken.
Yeah. So they were selling it for $169. Current market on this is like $250 plus for a good condition one. It's like going way up. And I was like, I need to pick that up before it disappears. Because a lot of the times at this game store, when stuff starts hitting the market, it's just gone. I watched some video of this, and it was made, and I was like, this looks like the Home Alone game. And I was like, I wonder who developed it. THQ.
Yeah.
Who developed Home Alone? THQ. Yeah. You remember we actually had an episode on Home Alone, and it's god awful. And this is in the same vein.
I think it might be worse.
There's actually an SNES version of this game. I don't know if that's the same or not, but
I think it's
if
also
I remember
awful.
correctly, like it's awful, but I think it's like if you have to pick one.
SNES
play. Yeah, like it's on a technicality.
Yeah.
If you absolutely must play Wayne's World.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know. I just like I was talking about earlier, I like picking up heavy hitters just because not everybody has them.
That was back in the day where every movie tie-in sucked ass.
Yeah.
All of them.
Except for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that wasn't a movie tie-in yet.
They had a Lufia cart for Game Boy Advance, and I happened to have the box and manuals and inserts and everything, so I completed this.
Nice.
I always love, like, I just literally have a bin of boxes and manuals that I hope to complete someday. And yeah, so I was able to complete that.
Yeah, the cool. Lufia and Lufia 2 are on my priority list for Super Nintendo as far as
Lufia 1 has gotten pricey recently, actually.
Yeah. I just haven't found a good price that I like for them yet, but that's like, those are games I actively want to play again. I played a lot of those growing up.
I haven't played them, but these are games that I picked up with the eventual hope that I will play them. You understand.
Goes. Yeah,
you understand.
Okay, totally.
Like if you're stranded on a desert island with your entire collection, you know.
I say that looking over at my 150 Switch games and my 250 Xbox One games. And
see, Ryan gets me because like Briar, he's like, yeah, I have like a handful of games. It's like he plays.
They're right there.
Yeah, he plays more than he collects, and I'm like the opposite.
Yeah,
I just enjoy.
For me, the collecting really ramped up when I was on the road a lot more.
Oh, I
just
bet.
Because like it's hard to travel with a lot of video games. You know, I can't bring all my shit with me.
But always having like something to do at every location you go to is like find new video game shops and
I'm super boring. Like I don't drink, I don't do any of that. So like I'm not enjoying that part of the road that you're supposed to. So I'm just I got tired of just sitting around in hotels Then my next gigs are down in Naples, Florida, at Off the Hook Comedy Club, the July 8th through 11th. That's my next road stuff. And my favorite game store in the country is about an hour away from there. It's in Bonita Springs.
Oh, nice.
And I'm very excited. That's where I bought my Amiibo kiosk that I had to ship to myself.
Jesus.
It was very, very much a pain in the ass. My the guy who travels with me, my opener, he still is pissed about that he had to help me box that up to ship home to me. Because like I had the full Amiibo collection. It's just like one of the GameStop original like kiosks that they set up that the guy had, and I was like, "Yep." And he gave me a good deal because I bought a shit ton of stuff from him.
Nice. I was gonna say, you said that you come out to Portland once a year. You should try to schedule it around the Retro Game Expo. And then if you do come out, I can we could like meet at the Retro Game Store because it's like a little bit west of Portland. It is insane. Like they just have everything and yeah.
I can't remember if I told you this. I actually had tickets for it last year. I had bought it. And I bought them like way ahead of time because I'd seen just a lot of like YouTuber videos of like people going there and it just looked awesome. And I was like, I'll make that the first like actual expo I go to. And then the world ended.
2020 was going to be the first year that I went. So I haven't been.
I was excited. I was very pumped about that. And then womp womp.
Briar hopefully can maybe schedule that as one of his cons. Who knows?
That would be awesome.
Maybe not.
No, actually, I don't want Briar there.
No,
I've decided. I don't know why. I've just decided.
Well, fine then.
He doesn't.
No, I'm not.
He doesn't collect right. He doesn't do it like we do it, Jay. So he can't come. I'm a gatekeeper. The
thing that Briar has that I don't have is the like setup knowledge, like doing all of the he's like a tinkerer and like setting up all the SCART cables and like all the proper AV stuff. Like he's been schooling me on all of that, making sure the stuff looks true to form, like the best that you can get. Like Briar's an expert on that side for sure.
See, Briar, I might need to fly you out here then. You're back in. You're back in. That's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've always been able to get stuff working, but I know for a fact I don't have things looking at their like optimal. Yeah. So that's stuff I got to try to learn here now that I have access to all my stuff again.
Well, it's really nice if you want to play on a CRT and a HD TV. Like that's gotten so much easier to make old classic games look good on modern TVs.
Well, that's good because I need to figure that out because I got a shit ton of them.
Yeah. All right. Only a few more things for me. A manual only to go along with my copy of Pocky and Rocky. They had a Pocky and they had just like a loose
$80 for the manual.
Yeah.
It's an expensive little game there.
So I picked up Pocky and Rocky like 5 years ago for $50 or $60, and it's currently going for like $150. I picked up Pocky and Rocky 2 about a year and a half ago for like a deal because I bought like a ton of stuff from this one guy, and he had a ton of heavy hitters. He had like the whole complete sets of NES, Super Nintendo, like all that stuff. And so I picked up 2 for I think like $150 or so, and it's currently like north of 500.
Wow.
Pocky and Rocky. It's because they're insanely good games. And not a whole lot of people knew about them. They've always been kind of rare, but now people are like figuring it out, and that's when stuff just goes up. So
yeah, isn't there's it's like a spiritual successor that was made by the same people like for the PS3 and Wii? Isn't it like Heavenly Sword or something?
It was like
maybe
like a Valkyrie or something.
That sounds familiar. Heavenly Sword. I can picture the like redheaded with the sword on the front, but I don't know. They have a Pocky and Rocky
game, Heavenly Sword, I think.
Yeah. They have a Pocky and Rocky and Becky game for GBA that I don't own. That's also like $150 cart.
Becky got in the mix,
Becky,
huh?
I don't know. Yeah. So that's I don't have the box yet, but that's the expensive part. 2 more things. I've kind of broken my own rules recently where I'm paying like market price for stuff if they're in really good shape, mainly because I'm selling off a bunch of things and using that to buy things. But Power Blade, because I got Power Blade 2 cart from the Retro Game Store.
Look at him.
So
rad he is with his Power Blade.
yeah. So I picked up Power Blade 2 as like the heaviest hitter from the game store. It was like a $599 game from the retro store that I used credit on, and it was like the most expensive game I had bought from them. It's like 3 months ago, and this has been on my list, and it keeps going up in price. But
Look at
this
that
one
font.
copy, this copy that I bought, it still has the original cellophane on it.
Hell yeah.
And the game is unplayed. Like he took it out for the pictures, and I looked at it. I'm like, literally, it's never been in the system. It doesn't have any of the marks on it or anything. And I'm like,
Wow.
holy crap! I paid what it was worth, but I don't know.
That game
was
is fun
using-
too.
Yeah. I haven't played it. I should.
That font is amazing.
Dude, man,
Yeah, this is.
you have a lot of rad games to play tonight, my friend.
Yeah, man.
you got a lot of rad.
I'm solo dad tonight, so I got to do all the things.
Man.
Yeah, it's
if the kids are getting too wild, just put them in front of some rad dudes and just let them.
Yeah, every time I look at it, it looks like Zach from Saved by the Bell to me.
Little
every
bit.
time.
Little bit.
Yeah, when he just had enough.
It's like if T1000 was mimicking Zach from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. That's Zach Morris after he got in trouble for drinking that half a beer. And like that was the slippery slope. It just put him down the wrong path, and now he hits people with his powerful boomerang.
Silly. The last game before the Super Mario game.
And by the way, before you get to that, it's Heavenly Guardian.
Oh,
that is the like.
Is it a spiritual successor?
Yes, Heavenly Guardian.
That's probably one that's going to go up in value at some point. PS3 has some weird ones going up right now. We're all writing shit down. It's fine. So I think you'll appreciate this, especially Ryan.
PS2 and Wii.
Oh, okay. I got Zelda DX sealed.
Oh,
from the retro game store, but it says mostly sealed.
Yeah, mostly. I thought it said Moshi sealed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's got the old Moshi sealed.
So on the top, and I have an NES Final Fantasy that's like this too, where there's like a rip in the cellophane on the top, like it's like up. But everything else is good. Like the H seal is good. And everything else it's crushed up, it's beat up, but the price that they had it was like competitive, and sealed games are hard to come by. I only have a handful, and I just was like, you know what? Because I also get 10% off because I've been going so much. They have like a level system, so I get 10% off of that. Plus, I used credit, and I just love having sealed stuff when I can get it. And even in beat up condition, it's not like I'm gonna get it graded or anything like that. But it's just fun. I just love having brand new, unused stuff. It's just awesome.
Yeah, most of my sealed stuff is just because I've bought games too quickly and I haven't had time to.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah, like that's the way. Like, if people want to be sealed collectors, like that's totally cool. But like, that's another level for me personally.
That's got to be.
Like, I mean, it's hard enough. Like, I mean, that's why I do cart only.
Yeah.
Because even doing box and manual makes it like, ugh. And then if you try to do it sealed, it's just like, honey, do you mind if we just move back in with my mom? Is that going to be cool?
I don't. Yeah. So all of the sealed stuff that I have, and I have like Pokemon Emerald sealed. I have Super Smash Bros. 64 sealed. All of those, I've just come by in happenstance. Like the opportunity arose, like on a game trading website, and I had currency and I bought them. Like it wasn't like I was searching them out. Like I specifically want sealed stuff and I'm trying to like get them graded and flip them and stuff. No, it's just deals that I've come across. I get sealed stuff in a bundle, or I just get them for the right price and the right opportunity. It's like that way with inbox stuff too. Most of the stuff that I get is just it's the right time, right place, right price. There are a few things that I'm like, I really would like to have that complete, and I might pay a little bit more because I'm not patient with it. But it's I've gotten good prices on most of my stuff. And last but not least, I got this back after a month from WATA. and I paid for 3-day. Like I paid the premium 3-day. They ended up refunding the 3-day charge, which was nice.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah, right. Um, so for those who haven't been watching the show, I picked up Super Mario Brothers on eBay, complete in box for $125, and I knew that the sticker seal on top meant it was either a first or second edition. And I was like, maybe it's worth $500 or $600. Pick it up for 125. I was like, that's a decent increase in value. They just didn't know what they had, kind of thing, because they priced it at whatever the going rate for Super Mario Brothers. And I did some more research, and the only 3 that have sold on Heritage Auction that were first prints went for $9,700, 17,000, and 28. And it turns out that the one that went for $9,700 actually sold again 4 days later on Heritage Auctions for $16,000.
Oh, that's a quick turnaround.
And the one that sold for 28,000 was a 7.0, which is what I got. And mine's a better 7.0 because the box is 1 point higher, the cart is 1.5 points higher, and the manual's the same. I don't know how I got a 7. It should have been a 7.5. But the cart's a 9.6, which doesn't happen. All 3 of the other ones had like an 8.0 cart, and Heritage Auction's like, it has a great condition cart at 8.0. Mine's a 9.6. So,
Nice.
Jay, you got to sell that, right?
There are 2 copies currently that are going to be going up for auction on the 21st that are first edition. One's like a 6.5 and one's a 5.5 or something. So I'm going to be watching those like a hawk, see what they end up going for. And I mean, no matter what, this is going to get sold. I just have to figure out, like, logistically, it's scary to think about sending something like this through the mail, first of all.
Yeah.
And
I would
second-
be talking to your house insurance, telling them that you have that in the house, for one thing.
Yeah.
And taking pictures of it. Because if something were to happen, you're talking about something that's worth $20,000.
Yep. Potentially.
And that market, do you think that market's going to keep going up?
For things that are one of a kind, maybe.
God damn.
That's the thing that's scary. It's like, something like this, it's like, are more going to come out of the woodwork because people are seeing the values that these things are going for?
Yeah.
And, when supply goes up, demand generally goes down. Or is it going to be one of those priceless things that's going to be hard to even get less than, 150? I don't know. It's hard to think about.
Ryan, do you think that we're in a bubble for prices right now?
Yeah, like, my brain wants to say eventually it has to stop going up, but like, does it?
I don't know.
Because like what's happening, like, a little bit, like I have a really good friend who's like he's a high end collector. At this point, he has like one of the only complete in-box NES collections, like everything complete, including Bubble Bath Babes. That's actually why I thought about it. He has everything.
It's not complete until you got Bubble Bath Babes.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like $1 million.
I can't complete until I see Bubble Bath Babes. You know what I'm saying? Talking orgasmic, Jay. That's what I'm talking about. But like even him, like what he's saying is like now a lot of like it's become a cool thing for rich people to buy games. So now that these people are coming in, where like before, if anything was pricey, it's because like hardcore game collectors were getting into it and like they knew the value and they were like, okay, we're pushing it to the limit that we know it's worth. Now there's just people with just, throwaway asswipe money, basically. Like, $100,000 is nothing to me. I just want to own this cool thing that's important, and like, so I don't know. Like, I want to say like a lot of it will normalize a little bit, like GameCube's not going to keep going up the way it did.
Pokemon games and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that'll kind of come back, but like stuff like this, there's always going to be a rich dude who wants to have the biggest prize. Like, oh, that's the best one. $1 million is nothing to me. Here you go. Like, you'll always have someone like that that's doing that. So I think for this type of stuff, it's going to keep going up. I think generally speaking, once we kind of get fully through COVID times, basically, a lot of people who bought all that shit will sell it off because they don't need it anymore because they're not stuck at home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I
Mhm.
think that'll come down. But high end stuff, I think, is going to keep going up.
That's the scary thing. Like, do I wait? Because we're still kind of in the infancy of all
I
that
don't know.
stuff. And oh man, I was gonna say something. I already forgot what it was. It's fine.
Yeah, you hold the cards on that though. Like
Yeah.
I think it's something that, my personal opinion, for what that's worth, you should sell it. You don't need to sell it today.
Right. No,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at too.
You got a little bit of time.
Fort
Like in 5 years, I'm gonna be a little pissed if you still have that. But like if you still have it in 5 months, you're cool.
Yeah.
I think you should. It's worth watching what the market is on
Right.
that.
Fortunately, oh my god, my brain's like farting. I'm like on 4 hours of sleep. Sorry.
Oh really? You are? You're on 4 hours of
Yeah,
sleep?
yeah, yeah.
I flew across the country.
Right.
For you, Jay. For you.
Maybe it'll come back to me. Who knows? You want to
Yes.
talk about you had a pickup.
Yeah. I'll talk about it real fast. So one of my good friends, he's a buddy I know from Indiana who I used to work at my last day job that I work. So just like one of the few people that that just we just remain friends. He knew a guy like in some Facebook group he was in. I don't even think it's a video game group. He's just moving, and he has all these video games that he's basically just giving away for the price of shipping. And he's a guy, like, he knows what they're worth, so I didn't feel bad because I think we've talked a little bit about that, Jay. Like, I don't have it in me. If somebody doesn't know it's worth something, I can't sleep at night if I fuck them out of like thousands of dollars. Like, I
Mhm.
will tell them, because most people are still going to give you the stuff. They just want to know their stuff's being taken care of. But like, so he knows this stuff is worth stuff. He's just moving. He has this. It's all been in a storage unit for a while. He's getting rid of it. Um, the one that he is going to sell that I was hoping he would send me, he has a pretty much perfect copy of Rule of Rose for PS2.
Mm.
That's like the one game that he was like, I actually just, I'm going to sell that one. And I'm like,
Mhm.
totally understand it. So what I've already received from him, and again, none of these are like crazy, but like they're all consistently like $50 to $100 games. So I already got Fatal Frame 2, Xenoblade or Xenosaga 1, and Phantasy Star Online for GameCube. So he's already sent me that. I got those for $20 just for sending him for shipping and
Wow.
all that. And then he just put it in the mail yesterday, I believe. Let me find the full image here. So, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor and Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey for DS, Eternal Darkness, and Legend of Zelda Four Swords Adventure, and WarioWare Inc. for GameCube, Baroque for Wii, Tales of Graces F, El Shaddai, Heavenly Sword, Nier, Tales of Xillia Limited Edition, and Tales of Xillia 2, and 3D Dot Heroes for PS3. And then what
Jeez.
was the other one? Siren for PS2.
Those
So
are
he
like
sent me all
high
that.
quality games.
Yeah, like good games.
Yeah.
and like because I was looking through because some of these I was like, I know they're like good games, but I didn't know the prices. Like just pricing just that stack out, it was like $900 on price
Oh.
starting right now. And he know, like I said, he knows what they're worth, so I don't like. There was full disclosure on that. I was like, you could sell this for more, right? And he's like, yep. Me and the wife just want him out of the house. It's a pain in the ass moving this
Wow.
every time we move. So I'll probably send him, $30. So like the shipping was only like $7 or whatever how he sent it. But I'll probably send him $30 just so I don't feel like a complete monster.
Mhm.
But yeah, a pretty good. I finally got one of those big wins. It's been a
Yeah.
while
Nice.
since I got like
Yeah.
a really good one like that.
It's funny too because 3D Dot Game Heroes. I've had multiple copies of that in my possession over the years, and they were worth next to nothing, like $5 or less. And then all of a sudden, within the last year, I think like $40 to $60 complete or something like that. Just look at
Like
price.
even recently, it went up to about 100 or so when
Really?
Sony had announced that they were closing the PS3 store.
Oh,
It's gone back down a little bit now that they've backed off of that.
right.
But there was another game that's in my collection. It's like Best of PlayStation Online Volume 1. Some bullshit game like that. That I literally, I think I have it's sealed because I got it at Walmart on clearance for like $2.50.
Mhm.
And I think it's still at like 120 right now. but I think it had maxed at like 170 or 180 just because when they were going to close the store, those games you couldn't get anymore. I
Yeah.
don't even think they're good games, but yeah, so PS3 got weird. I have a copy of 3D Game Heroes already, but my case is a little beat up, so I'm hoping this will upgrade that, and then I'll kind of flip this one. So yeah, it was nice to get a win.
Awesome. Yeah,
I mean, the NSYNC game you're going to send me.
This is obviously the win of my lifetime so far. I have quite a few, and you don't win them all. Sometimes those wins that you lose out on, like somebody lists something on eBay and you're like 5 seconds too slow. You're like, I missed out on a complete inbox Shantae for like $500 for Game Boy Color, a sealed Links to the Past for $100 or something like that. I'm just like, those keep me up at night too. I'm like, but at the same time, like you can't get everything. You know,
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like I have this like fake goal of like what's my goal? I want to own every video game ever. I know realistically that's not like so. Like it's part of the fun and part of the journey. You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some, but like I'll keep doing it until this doesn't become fun anymore, and then I'll just stop doing it.
Have you always been a collector of things?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I always rotate that. Like that's why I know I'm not a hoarder. Because as soon as like I've just lost complete interest in it, I'm not afraid to like sell it or give it to somebody who I know is a collector and really enjoys it. I'm not I don't stash all these. It's bit me in the ass a little bit. Like I regret how cheap I got rid of my old GI Joe collection because like those are a little pricey. They're not like astronomical, but I did not get the best of that deal. I'll say that right now. But you win some, you lose some, and it just depends on where you're at in your life too. You know, it's only been very recently that I've had like success in comedy to where like, oh, I can afford this. Sometimes like, okay, shit, I gotta sell off these games so that I can eat this month. You know, it just depends on what time of your life you're in as well when you're doing this. So I try not to live or die by mistakes or wins that I've got because who the hell knows? I might need that kidney myself coming up here. So
it's good to know that this stuff holds some value though, just in case, you're not just throwing money into the wind.
Exactly. Yeah. Like again, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I'm not naive enough to say that I'm investing because that's ridiculous. I enjoy doing this. This is a fun thing that brings me happiness. But it is nice to know that I can get a little return on investment if shit goes down.
Right.
Should we wrap this one up?
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up tight.
Ryan, where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, all the things, Xbox Live, all that. It's Cripple Threat 8. If you're interested in seeing my tour schedule, it's on cripplethreat.com. That's the one thing that doesn't have an 8. It's nice that we actually kind of picked up the schedule again. Next stuff I have coming up that's actually in person. A lot of Florida stuff. So July 8th through 11th, I am at Off the Hook Comedy Club in Naples, Florida. End of July, I am in Destin and Panama City Beach. August 6th and 7th, I'm in Boca Raton, Florida. And then after that, it kind of just gets a little wild. I start going a little bit everywhere. So I finally do this job again. I'm very excited.
Nice.
I get to do this.
Awesome.
Jay?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at JSniperton. This Friday, actually, it's more like Saturday morning, I will be doing a block on the GCX charity marathon, which also I think Briar is going to be. I don't know if you're going to be part of the
Saturday
DCP
night.
one.
Yep.
So, yeah. If you enjoy, I'm going to be playing Destiny. We're going to be doing shenanigans. If you want to help raise money for sick kids of St. Jude and have some fun, you're more than welcome to come hang out. It's 1 to 4 a.m. on Saturday morning Pacific or 5 to 8 Eastern.
I may be there. I'm
Awesome.
gonna come hang out for a little bit.
Sweet. You can watch me eat and drink nasty stuff and play video games.
Yeah, which is my fetish. All three of them.
You ever had any of those?
One of is missing. It doesn't work for me. I need all three.
Have you ever tried any of those nasty sodas, like the ranch soda and the mustard soda and all that?
I have not, but that sounds amazing.
They're so bad.
I need to get that. Like, we troll my mom. My mom will put mustard on everything. I need to send me how I can get a hold of
mustard
the
soda.
mustard soda. Yes, yeah. She's getting a nice Christmas gift this year.
I think you guys have what is it called? Zap Fizz Pop. There's a candy store, and they have them in California too. Rocket Fizz.
Rocket Fizz.
They sell like at least the one near us is where I've gotten all ours. You can also
Okay.
get them on Amazon too, but it's a little bit slower shipping.
Got it. I'll take a look at that because that's we always troll my mom with at least one mustard related gift every year, so that might be it.
Mustard wasn't the worst soda. It was ranch. Tastes like wet cardboard. It was weird.
Oh, another one of my fetishes. That's so weird.
Cardboard. It's great.
Wet cardboard. It feels good on my toes.
All right, thank
Brian,
you
how
so
about you?
much for. Oh, I'll be doing the Guardian Con GCX stream as well on Saturday with the DCP folks. We're actually doing an early recording of DCP on Thursday, which will also be on GCX. I think it's at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're interested in raising some money for the Little Lights, come check us out. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. This was really a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. If it's cool, I would like to come back sometime.
We would like that tremendously. I could say that
I like
without
talking video
conferring.
games.
Yeah.
I always look for more excuses to do this, and my dog gets really annoyed and confused when I keep talking about Guardian Legend to her all the time. She doesn't understand it.
Such a great game, girl.
Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.